Hi everyone, Stacy here. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back. Today we're going to talk about Saturn moving into the sign of Aries and what that could mean for each and every one of us. Now, before I dive into all 12 signs, I just want to take a quick opportunity to thank each and every one of you for liking and sharing out my content and subscribing to my channel. I appreciate each and every one of you for doing so. And if you're new here, welcome. I'm so happy and grateful that you stumbled across one of my videos or my YouTube channel. Keep in mind, these are general readings. I cannot stress that enough. Keep in mind, when I go through all 12 signs, I do not have your personal birth chart sitting in front of me. Now, if you'd like to work with me one-on-one and have a reading to you, for you, all about you, you can get in touch with me on my website, and I'll be sure to put the link to that in the description box below. I do use Western tropical astrology, and I do use a whole sign house system in all of my videos here on YouTube land. Also, don't forget, you can watch for your sun sign, your rising sign, if you know your rising sign, your moon sign, or any other planet placement or point that you'd like to watch for, that you can pull all this information together for you to kind of give you a high-level overview of what Saturn could be bringing into your life over the next 2.5 to 3 years. So a little bit of information on Saturn here, just to kind of get you to start feeling what kind of energy Saturn brings to the table. So he does take about 2.5 to 3 years to move through each and every zodiac sign. It does take him approximately 29 to 30 years to move through all the 12 signs of the zodiac. So he does not come around very often. Now, when the outer planets shift into new signs, new territory, they foreshadow new shifts and incoming collective energies. Now, Saturn and Jupiter are social, societal planets, so they help us lean into these new collective shifts and energies that the outer planets bring. Now, the outer planets that I'm referring to is Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus, which this is a huge year, you guys. I'm sure you've been hearing this over and over and over again, that yes, Uranus is changing signs this year. Pluto already changed signs in 2024, late 2024, but this is still new. This energy is still very raw and new, and we don't really know what Pluto will be doing for each and every one of us, and the collective for that matter, for the next 20 years. And again, Saturn, Neptune moving into new territory, Jupiter moving into new territory. So all of these planets collectively are shifting us slowly but surely forward into brand new energies and brand new signs. So Saturn and Jupiter are going to help us adapt to these energies over the next several years. Okay, so a little bit more about Saturn. He is the grandfather of time, or also known as Kronos. He does rule responsibility and restriction and authority, life lessons, and he creates structures and disciplines. Without Saturn, like Saturn actually rules the structures of the body. So we would just be kind of like a puddle of jello on the ground, because Saturn does rule the bones, the teeth, the spine, the skin of our bodies as well. Now, where Saturn is in your natal birth chart is where it's a very, very sensitive spot. It's called the Achilles heel. It's also where we have a lot to learn. It's kind of like the pinpoint, the pain point in our chart. So any transits to our natal Saturn, we can usually feel quite personally. It's also an area of life where we can experience more challenges or limitations or restrictions or some sort of lessons around boundaries and what that means for each and every one of us. Now, where this adds in an additional layer is where Saturn is in your chart. So what sign is he in and what house is he in? Saturn rules, he's the traditional ruler of Capricorn and Aquarius. Now, I know Aquarius is co-ruled by the two planets. I always like using the ancient traditional rulers of these signs, but certainly Aquarius has a Uranian feel as well. So he's also ruled by Uranus. Saturn is also affiliated with or connected to the 10th and 11th houses of the zodiac. So 10th house is all about career and status and reputation and the long-term legacy that we want to leave behind. And 10th house is also a parental access or an authority figure access. So it's also our relationships to these individuals. Also you as a parent, not only mom, dad, authority figures, but also you as a parent if you are a parent. 11th house is all about groups and associations and affiliations, people that we surround ourselves with. 11th house is also about our long-term commitments, goals, our hopes, our wishes, our dreams. So Saturn can crystallize those for us in the 11th house. And of course, 11th house is also about collective humanitarian efforts as well. Now, Saturn moving into Aries. So I'm trying to get you to kind of feel this energy in your body. So when we go through each and every sign, you can kind of know what to expect when I'm trying to describe Saturn or Saturnian energy versus the fiery, spicy Aries energy. And we're going to be dealing with this for the next, like I said, 2.5, 3 years. So while Saturn is moving into Aries, he's actually not very good in the sign of Aries. He doesn't function well in the sign of Aries. So sometimes over the next several years, things might come out sideways. Usually when a planet is in its fall or in a sign where he's detriment, they try to express themselves extra hard, like they put in a lot of work, but then it kind of comes out sideways or not really intended. So keep that in mind while while Saturn is moving through the sign of Aries. Now, Aries energy is all about impulsiveness. This is just doing things on the fly, direct, blunt, to the point energy. This is warrior energy. After all, this is don't think, just act. Wherever we have Aries in our birth chart is where we just dive in head first and we don't think about it. And I'm not painting this with a negative brush. I'm just trying to describe these energies for you so you can kind of feel them in your body, and it'll kind of give you an idea of what to expect over the next several years. So Aries is all about taking action. Don't think, just act. It's just putting your foot on the gas pedal, no brakes. Whereas Saturn is more so like slow and steady wins the race. Aries energy is all about, no, like, let's go now. I want to be number one. I want to be first in line, whatever the case may be. So very determined, very competitive spirit. This is the epitome of the entrepreneurial spirit, or the birth of a business, the birth of building a building, quite literally, or a skyscraper. That would be like Saturn, right? That doesn't happen overnight. But where does that spark come from? Where does that idea come from? That comes from the first house. That's Aries, the Aries energy. Aries is ruled by Mars, and he is the first sign of the zodiac. So this is all about the I am energy. So I think just a couple 2 cents here, my 2 cents here, Saturn is definitely going to ask us to take responsibility for the actions that we take more so over the next several years in Aries. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, well, isn't that normal? It is normal, but not so much in the sign of Aries, because Aries again is all about go, 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 and not thinking, and kind of like leaving somebody else to clean up the mess, or I'll figure that out later. You know, I just want to get this done. Saturn is going to slow us down a little bit more in this area of life, but it's not a bad thing. Again, I'm not trying to paint this like a negative tone or a negative brush. This is just the energy that Saturn brings to the table during all of his transits. So he will tame down the fire. Aries is definitely a fiery, spicy type of energy. But he's going to tame that down. But again, I don't think this is a good, I don't think this is a bad thing. I think this is a good thing personally, but I'm also thinking of all the energy he's been soaking up while in Pisces, all of those dreams and things that have been working on in the background, people, places, things, the collective. Now Saturn moving into Aries, I'm thinking a lot of this stuff now is going to take shape. It's going to take form. So we're going to see the spark of these brand new ideas that sort of started in Pisces. Now Saturn's going to help bring that into form. So that's why I think this is a good thing. It's just that it's not going to happen overnight because again, it's Saturn. He's slow. Again, he's the grandfather of time. He's slow and steady. He's not about getting things done overnight. I also think with Saturn and Aries, Aries is sort of one of the leadership signs, and Saturn does rule the 10th house of career and status and public eye and responsibility and the government and things like that. I think he'll also make us, all of us, turn kind of a critical eye on anybody in leadership. So I'm talking about government, CEOs, CFOs, anybody in a managerial position or a leadership position. I think we will be also holding those people a little bit more accountable than we have in previous years. Again, I don't think this is a bad thing. And if you're a leader or manager or business owner, again, I'm not trying to instill fear. Saturn is all about resiliency. So he's just going to help you build up your resiliency. He's going to thicken that skin over the next several years. If you are a manager, a leader, somebody in a prominent position or high status in a company, nothing wrong with that. I just think that there'll be more accountability over the next several years. And again, I don't think that's a bad thing, you guys. I think we need this transit, especially at this time, especially with Neptune and Saturn coming together. There can be a lot of false leadership. I think there will be a lot of false leadership over the next several years with Neptune in this area of life. But then the good thing about Saturn is Saturn's like reality checks, and he's going to be like, no. Let's strip away the fog and the glamour and the glitz and let's get practical. Like, what can you do for us? What can you do for this business? What can you do for yourself? So anyway, that's just a couple of things off the top of my head. Excellent energy, you guys, for building a brand new life. Again, this is the first sign of the zodiac. If you ever wanted to start fresh, you have a 3-year window, a 2.5-3-year window with Saturn moving through Aries. So this is going to give us the strength and the stamina to build up this area of life. So wherever you have Aries in your birth chart, we're going to talk about it. This is setting the stage for at least a new beginning, even just the start of a new beginning. Again, this is not going to happen overnight. Can't stress that enough. In at least one area of life, setting the stage for the next 30 years, because Saturn won't be back here for another 30 years. So what to expect during a Saturn transit? Now, this is not an exhaustive list. These are just some ideas or hints or clues of what to think about what Saturn will be doing for you over the next several years. So this area of life in particular, so we all have Aries somewhere in our birth chart. And if you don't know your birth chart, that's okay. I'll get into all 12 signs in a second here. But this area of life is going to go through some tests. So Saturn literally tests the foundations we have built up in this area of life since the last time he was through this sign. Now, Saturn gives us resiliency. That's another thing I want you to keep in mind. When you're having a hard day, when you're having a tough day, you know, it could be Saturn, you know, that is trying to build you a backbone, trying to thicken up your skin, trying to give you resiliency so you can continue to move through life with these lessons now in your back pocket that you could pull out at any time, so to speak. Also, what Saturn loves to do is instill healthy boundaries for each and every one of us. I think we're all guilty of this. We all have that one loved one or one person in our family, or it could even be a pet, or again, a child, a grandchild, whatever, that kind of dissolves those boundaries for us, right? But Saturn is going to come along and again test that, depending on, again, what area of life this is in. So he also teaches. So Jupiter and Saturn are the great teachers of the zodiac, but I'm sure you can tell maybe by now that Saturn and Jupiter probably have two different types of teaching styles. So think back to high school or college, university, whatever, you know, there was that teacher that you loved, right? There was that professor that you really liked, or that mentor, a mentor, teacher, coach that you liked. And then there was always that teacher that was like just a hard ass, right? They meant well, but again, maybe they were constantly critical, constantly, you know, say you're an A++ student, but constantly just giving you that C or whatever the case may be. Because again, he or she wanted to instill that in you, like toughen up, you know, that's Saturn. So they both mean well. Jupiter and Saturn both mean well, but Saturn's the hard ass. So again, I'm not trying to be negative. I personally love Saturn. I'm ruled by Saturn, so I love working with Saturn. But yeah, this is like the school of hard knocks. This, you know, he's a tough teacher. He's the grandfather, you know, grandfather of the zodiac, right? So just some things I just want you to keep in mind when working with Saturn, because it's another thing is, you know, try to instill humor. That also I just heard that right now. Try to instill humor with Saturn transits. It'll make it a lot easier as well. So Saturn makes us put in the work. So unfortunately, you're not going to get a windfall with Saturn. Saturn wants you to put in the work. Windfalls are Jupiter and other planets, Uranus, all that fun stuff. Saturn's going to make you work for it. Now, Saturn can bring in the bigger wealth than what Jupiter could deliver. So Pluto and Saturn are the wealthy gods of the sky. They can bring in big wealth. But guess what? Yes, I'm sorry to say, you got to work for it with Saturn anyway. Also, Saturn transits are, you know, we don't know what we don't know. Sometimes we don't know what we're walking into, right? And I think we can all relate to that in at least some small or big way in our lives. And again, that's how we learn, right? Think about something that you walked into and it totally went sideways and you're like, oh my God, but guess what? You remembered that, right? So what we don't know, we don't know. So for example, okay, I'm divorced. I'm a single parent. Now what? My car broke down. What do I do now? I bought a house. What do I do now? What do I do if the furnace breaks down or the air conditioning breaks down or something happens? Like, what do I do? You know, or I built a business off my back, you know, sweat of my brow. But now what do I do? Like, how do I sustain it? Do I hire people? Do I not hire people? Do I do everything myself? So that's where Saturn comes in and sort of starts building those life experiences and a knowledge base, a solid knowledge base where we can build on and continue to build on those experiences for the rest of our life. Saturn is also the builder. He is not the destroyer. So the destroyer is Pluto. Pluto has the power to destroy and heal. But what Saturn provides to that, because again, these planets work together. Saturn gives time. He's the grandmother of time. So he gives us that time to heal, to rebuild. Yes, sometimes, you know, Saturn can clear the slate. You know, think of building a home, building a business from scratch, doing something from scratch. This is where it takes time, right? And sometimes you got to level it right to the ground and rebuild yourself. So Saturn gives us that, and the other planets, like I said, they all work together in tandem to help us create the life that we desire, that we want to manifest. Also, another thing Saturn does wonderfully is we really feel our age, especially if Saturn's moving through a prominent angle of the chart, like the first house or one of the angular houses. We can feel old. This is where Saturn's like catching up with the crow's feet and the laugh lines and the frown lines and all that stuff. But again, those are stories behind those lines, right? There's stories behind that we can bring in. You know, Saturn the Elder has the best stories of the zodiac. You know, nobody beats Saturn's stories, right? Because Saturn has stood the test of time. Okay, so Saturn transits here. let's see here. So May the 26th, give or take a day or two, depending on where you are on the planet. May 26th, he officially moves into Aries, but just for a short stay, just to kind of give us a flavor and a feeling of these energies. So all the way until the end of August, he will be here, and then he's going to backtrack into Pisces, September all the way until next February. Now, when he backs into Pisces, he's going to be wrapping up a bigger cycle that started, think back to March of 2023. That's actually, I think, when Pluto, for the first time in like 250 years, moved into Aquarius as well. So again, very important time back in 2023. So this is where Saturn's going to make you wrap something up in that Piscean area of life, so you can officially move into this Aries energy of life and get going, get rolling on whatever it is that you want to get some forward momentum, get building in this area of life again. So he officially moves into Aries February of 2026, all the way until April of 2028. Now, if you were alive back in the 90s, back in the 60s and beyond, this was the last time Saturn went through Aries. So I have them on the slide here if you want to take a screenshot. April of 96 to March of 99. That's the last time we had Saturn moving through this area of your birth chart. And before that, March of 67 to April of 69 would have been the last time as well that Saturn cruised through this area of life. Now, if you want to keep going backwards, just keep going backwards 30 years. And that's approximately when Saturn was moving through Aries, or this area of life for you. So if you were around in the 90s, were around in the late 60s, similar themes could be coming up at this time. But I don't want you to panic. Again, I'm not here to instill fear. If something not so great happened back in 96 to 99, I don't know if the exact same thing is going to happen. Because keep in mind, all the other planets were in different areas of life as well. So, and it might have not just been about Saturn. Again, what I find, well, astrologers rule, you got to see it 3 times in the birth chart, right? So it might not be about Saturn, but if Saturn is maybe making an aspect to your sun or your midheaven or your love line or a Venus or a Mercury, like that's where the story plays out a little bit bigger. So again, don't panic if something not so good happened back then. You know, hard to say. Now, it doesn't mean you're going to get tested in that same area of life though. So what Saturn's doing is asking you, hey, did you learn that lesson back in the 90s? Did you learn that lesson back in the 60s? Because guess what? He's going to come back around and test you in that area of life. So Saturn returns and transits to your natal Saturn is what we're going to talk about now. These are usually life-changing events or big turning points in your life. Now, you don't really need your birth chart to figure this out. I do have approximate ages on the screen here. So if you wanted to take a screenshot, a snapshot, and reflect on these ages in the past, because again, Saturn works slow and it takes him 2.5 to 3 years to go through each and every sign. So think about it. He doesn't just come up to your natal Saturn or come up to your natal sun and just, that's it, one and done. No, he goes back and forth, and it's slow. It's like a grind over this planet placement or point in your birth chart. So that's why I have the approximate ages on the slide here. Sometimes we don't realize these until after the fact. Like, for example, the first Saturn return. Sometimes we don't realize what happened to us until we're in our early 30s, for example, and then we reflect back and say, holy crap, I went through a lot. Look at all the shit that happened to me. But guess what? You made it on the other side, right? And you have those lessons now that, and Saturn's proud of you. Saturn's like, yep, there you go. You learned something. Now you can take that with you for the rest of your life, for the rest of your experience. Now, if you have your natal Saturn in Aries, you will be experiencing a Saturn return at some point in the next 2.5 years. So again, depending on where your Saturn is, if it's on the early degrees, you're going to be experiencing this pretty quick. And then if you're at the later degree of an Aries point, you probably won't be feeling this until maybe closer to 2027 or 2028, for example. Okay, so the first Saturn return, I call this, welcome to adulting, so to speak. This is usually an impactful or life-changing event. And you guys also, this doesn't have to be negative, okay? Saturn, everybody is going to experience Saturn returns differently. This is where your personal birth chart comes in. So take what resonates, leave the rest. And again, some of these can be a good thing. For example, the first Saturn return is maybe the first time you get married, or maybe the first time you have a baby, or you have your first child, for example. Or maybe your first Saturn return is your first divorce, or your first separation with a serious partner, whatever that could be. It could also be a health event. Again, this is where how is your Saturn aspected and how is Saturn talking to the rest of your chart? Because that's going to activate anything around Saturn. Anything that's activating Saturn, those other planets, placements, points are going to be activated as well, if that makes sense. So this can be a reality check, like this can be a kick in the pants, you guys. Like I can't sugarcoat a Saturn transit because sometimes you don't know what you're going to get, but it's usually a hard lesson. But it also doesn't have to be bad or negative or whatever the case may be. Again, Saturn likes to build on those life lessons, right? Just like that scar. We all have a scar to talk about, right? There's a story. So that's like a Saturn scar, for example, that we talk about. Now, a second Saturn return, and I think I forgot to mention, first Saturn return happens between 25 and 29, okay, so give or take. And the second Saturn return comes around between 55 and 59. Now, similar things could actually happen at a second Saturn return, because again, he's going to ask you, or she's going to ask you, what have you learned from your last first Saturn return? In your late 20s, early 30s, what did you learn? And if you didn't learn the lesson, there could be a similar experience coming back around, but that is pretty rare. Usually, 30 years go by and we're kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, we learned our lesson, right? And we built on that experience. So again, some of the same topics might come up. Definitely a reflection on your life at this point. This could be consideration of retirement or consideration of selling the business or moving on or getting a new partner in the business so you can, whatever, like move on in some way, shape, or form. This could be about making a big career change. Again, Saturn rules our status, career, reputation, the legacy that we want to leave behind. This is a really good time actually to dive into what lights you up from the inside out. Time to go after what you want. It's about you. This transit is always about us as well, not so much about the people around us. This is about us, like bringing back the joy and what lights us up at this age or during this time period. Around this age, you could become an elder, a teacher, a coach, a mentor. That would be another way of giving back. So giving back to the business or career or mentoring younger folks that are coming up in the same industry. This would be a really good time to, again, transition those stories down to those individuals. Because again, by the second Saturn return, we have lots of stories to share. We have a lot to share with other people or younger people that are coming up and maybe are experiencing difficulties that we went through, and we can help them, and it's going to light you up, right? Helping other people usually, from my understanding, lights us up, right? It lights you up. It makes you feel good. So that's what a second Saturn return could bring you as well. Also, second Saturn return, Louise Hay always comes to mind whenever I think of a second Saturn return, because I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe she created Hay House when she was around 60 years old. So again, this could be a time of slowing down, like retirement, thinking of retirement, or at least transitioning into something maybe better suited or easygoing. But second Saturn return can also be like, hey, I'm creating a brand new version of myself. You know, so Louise Hay, I believe, did that. Also, the gentleman who created KFC, Mr. Saunders, I think it was, Harland Saunders. I could be wrong. I could be butchering his name, but I apologize if I am. But he's another one that I think of. I believe he started KFC at around, again, his second Saturn return. So this really depends on your birth chart and how Saturn is aspected to kind of give you that flavor of what you could be doing around your second Saturn return. Now, I'm not saying you got to do something grandiose like that and start a business, but I'm just saying if you're feeling it in your bones and you're like, you know what? I want to start something big. I want to do something big. I want to go big. I'm not saying you got to roll over and die at your second Saturn return, okay? Like sometimes life is just starting. For Louise Hay, look at the passion. Look at the powerhouse empire that she built at her second Saturn return. So second Saturn return is definitely not, oh, okay, well, one foot in the grave. No, this could be when you're just getting started, when you're just getting ramped up. Now, the third Saturn return, kind of similar, you know, kind of similar, but again, you're getting up there. You know, 85 to 89, I don't know if you'll be starting any businesses, but again, this is about passing down stories and knowledge, you know, thinking of the elder. 85 to 89, this is the true epitome of the elder, of somebody who's passing down the knowledge, the gifts, the abilities to the next generation, so to speak. It's definitely a life review. It's definitely, it could also be reflection of, look at the legacy I left behind. Look at what I've done for others in the past, and lighting you up from the inside out from that perspective. And this is when Father Time catches up with us, right? Father Time's always catching up with us every day, every single day when we look in the mirror, right? Like, believe it or not, yes, I know. Time wears on us and time shows on us, right? So this is really when mortality comes into focus and new challenges, right? About how you move around and get around at this age and stage. So the focus is really on you. And literally the bones, the structures, the teeth, the skin of the body, the spine, what keeps us upright. This could be some, well, not only challenges, but focus, right? Between the ages of 85 to 89. So I hope that kind of gives you an idea of what to expect at each Saturn return. Again, what's going to add in additional layers is, where is your Saturn and how is it aspected in your birth chart? Now, another thing I think what is cool about Saturn is you can track these actually, 7-year cycles. Saturn works in 7-year cycles, like similar to other planets as well, where Jupiter, for example, works in 3 to 6 year cycles. Saturn works in 7-year cycles, and you can literally, I think, also clock this as well. I have the ages on the screen. You don't need your chart to figure this out. So think back to these ages and stages of life. Did something happen? Did a pivotal shift happen around these ages? Again, Saturn moves slow. So if you're thinking to yourself, well, nothing happened to me at 35. Well, maybe it wasn't 35. Maybe it was just before 35 or after 35, where you made a big move or made a big career change, right? Or maybe had a baby, maybe had another baby, your second or third or fourth child. So it depends. It's not so much about the ages. It's just, okay, approximately when or what happened to you around these life shifts. And let's see. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay, I think that's about it. So if you're still with me, thank you so much for being here. Keep in mind, you can watch for your sun sign, your rising sign, your moon sign, or any other planet placement or point to pull all this information together for you. And if I didn't already say it, take what resonates, leave the rest. We're going to dive into all 12 signs. And I hope you learned some new nuggets of information of what Saturn could be doing for you and what area of life he's going to be building resiliency for you over the next 2.5 years or so. So let's dive into all 12 signs. Hey Aries, let's talk about the area of life where Saturn will be building you up and giving you that resiliency over the next several years. So first, let's talk about the 12th house. That's where he is wrapping up a larger cycle that started back in March of 2023. Now, the hidden 12th house, some of you might have felt this and some of you might not have really felt this. So again, take what resonates and leave the rest. But the 12th house is all about solitude. It's all about kind of retreating away from society in some way, shape, or form. This could have been well, the 12th house is subconscious. That's why I'm thinking maybe some of you didn't really notice this and some of you did. I can tell you right now, you're definitely going to feel Saturn in the first house. But the 12th house, he's working away. He's cleaning out the subconscious mind. He's cleaning out the cobwebs. He's basically preparing you, or was preparing you, for a brand new cycle that is starting in 2025. Focus over the last several years, Aries, might have been on endings, wrapping things up, wrapping up larger cycles, maybe something to do with the career, maybe something to do with home life or family or living situation or scenario or whatever the case may be. Again, apply this to your life. But wrapping things up, letting things go, condensing. Again, Saturn has those rings for a reason. It's like tightening up the belt. So not having a whole bunch of things to lean on or rely on or have in your life that are distracting you. It's like releasing and letting go of all those distractions or material possessions or downsizing, for example. Saturn through the 12th house also could have been about a introspection of where has your time, your energy, and effort being spent. Now, I'm not saying in the last 3 years you've been reflecting, but again, possibly consciously or unconsciously, this would have crossed your mind in some way, shape, or form. 12th house could have been about healing, recuperating from something, again, whether physically, mentally, emotionally, or psychologically. So Saturn would have helped you with that. Also, Saturn hopefully would have given you a thicker skin when it comes to your emotions, when it comes to your well-being and healing. So I really hope you took advantage of this time as well. It would have been a good time to take a step back from work, from the busy, chaotic day to day. Maybe some of you took a leave of absence or just took a break from work, or maybe sold your business, got rid of your business, or got rid of a career and kind of at some point over the last 3 years kind of sat back and took a chill pill, took a back seat on something. 12th house is also about awakenings, spiritual awakenings, or any other sort of awakening that you can resonate or relate to over the last 3 years or so. Sleep. 12th house is also about sleep, dreamland, dream world, whatever you want to call it. So that could have been in focus as well. 12th house is also about past lives. So I'm not sure if some of you maybe did a past life regression or dipped into the metaphysical world, or maybe reached out to a psychic, a tarot reader, astrologer, things like that. Like just looking at your life from a different angle. Or again, religion, anything to do with religion. So I mean, if the metaphysical world, you're not a believer in that, or if you don't believe in that, you probably would have dipped into something else, your own religion, spirituality, angels, guides, again, whatever kind of that resonates with you to do with your belief system as well. 12th house is also about your hidden gifts, talents, and abilities. So some of you, I wouldn't be surprised if you were working on something behind the scenes over the last several years, and now it's time to bring them to light. So let's talk about that first house. Aries, I would not be surprised if a lot of you are going to be launching businesses or going into entrepreneurship, working for yourself. This is the transit that's, I know I'm talking to Aries here, so forgive me when I say this, but this is the transit that's really going to make you stand on your own 2 feet. And I know a lot of you are saying, I already know how to do that. Bonus. Because Saturn will also be testing that. He'll be testing the resiliency in this area of life as well, and helping you continue to build on, being an individual. What does that mean to you? You are the epitome of the I am sign after all. So this is launching something, bringing something forward, whether it is career related, or if that doesn't resonate, if you're not working, again, retirement, what does that mean to you? Saturn is long-term commitments and goals and planning for the future. Or what are you diving into? Saturn also rules humanitarian efforts and collective efforts, like unions and professional associations and groups of people. So what are you going to be diving into over the next several years, Aries? Or maybe you're going to be diving into a collective movement, whatever that means for you, and working with like-minded people. The first house is also quite literally our physical bodies and the physical appearance, Aries. So maybe you'll be transforming something about your physical appearance or changing something to do with your physical appearance over the next several years as well. I'm going to throw it out there because I just heard it, Aries. Headaches, something to do with headaches you might be more prone to headaches over the next 2.5, 3 years. So something I'll just throw out because I felt that in my head. And Aries does rule the head. So maybe guard your head as well. Like if you're in any sports or participate in any, like, what do you call that, contact sports, try to protect the head during this transit as well. With Saturn in here, you know, again, there could be a hard lesson with that. So I'm not trying to doom and gloom it, but I could definitely feel pressure in my head right now. So anyway, Aries, just take what resonates and leave the rest if that doesn't resonate with you. So the health and well-being of the body, excellent time to lose weight. For those of you that are looking to get into a new diet or health routine or regime, Saturn is fantastic for helping with this. Is it going to be easy? No. I hope you watched the beginning of my video to kind of get you into the mood of Saturn and what Saturn brings to the table. He could be a Debbie Downer. Like I don't know how else to say it. I'm not trying to be negative, but he could be. But if you put in the hard work, it will pay off in any area of your life. This is the first house, so it could ripple into your career, your home, your living situation, and also your partnerships and relationships as well. Excellent time, like I said, to lose weight. Excellent time, because Saturn will help you stick to whatever you incorporate over the next several years. So you have a lot of time, Aries. You don't have to do all of this in 2025. 2025 is just giving us a feel, just a taste test of what Saturn can bring to us, for us in this area of life. So if you don't, maybe you don't initiate anything until 2026, and that's okay. Like if you're saying to yourself, well, I have nothing to launch, I have nothing to do, I don't know what to do with this energy. It doesn't matter. Whatever you start over the next several years, Saturn will help you slowly but surely build and grow it over many, many, many years. Depending on your age, you're not going to have this transit again for another 30 years. So again, there's no rush. Saturn's all about time, and you work at your own pace, Aries. Don't feel like you also have to keep up with the crowd. That's not going to work at this time. Saturn is working with you and for you. Not everybody else is experiencing this in different areas of life. So everyone is going to feel this a little bit differently. Let's see here. What else could this be? Now, if you do have your sun in Aries, anything you're watching for right now, at some point, Saturn is going to conjunct that. So if it's your sun sign, this is about your personality, your vitality, again, your health and well-being. Please take care of your health and well-being, Aries, because this is also a test of your health and how you've been taking care of your physical body. I'm not saying you're going to die. I'm not saying you're going to be in the hospital. I'm not saying you're whatever. It's just that, again, this is tests. Saturn loves to test. So I'll just throw it out there. Again, I don't want to be a mother hen about it. But Saturn coming up to the sun can be extremely restrictive. So it's a really good time, if you haven't already, to start taking care of your health and well-being, even your mental health and well-being as well. Mind you, you probably had a lot of that with Saturn going through the 12th house. So you should be subconsciously mentally strong. I hope that transit also helped you notice what you're noticing, and also helped you not be so critical on yourself, or maybe you noticed you were more harder on yourself with Saturn in the 12th house. So now Saturn in the first house, you can utilize those new mindsets, or that new mindset that you learned in the past, and apply it to now when he's moving through the first house, if that resonates with you. Sun also can represent the career. So again, tests of the career, but again, this could be building up your career. This really depends on how you're going to use this energy. Are you going to let it knock you down, If you get one bad review from a boss or critic or somebody online, no, my recommendation would be like, no, you get back up and you keep doing what you do best, Aries. That would be my recommendation. This could also be about parental figures in your life, because the sun could represent the father or male figure, or the moon could represent female figures in your life, Aries. So it might not be about you. It might be one of your parents that needs some additional support or help or care, whatever that means. Again, if your parents are still with us. The moon could be something to do with home, family, foundation, renovations of the home, changes to the home in some way, shape, or form. Or again, something to do with how you digest your emotions. That could also be tested by Saturn as well. I just thought of something and it left my mind. Something to do with, could be a new home, could be a new living circumstance. It would have to depend on where your IC is as well. If it does truly go through Cancer, this could be a move, but again, this isn't for all of you, or this wouldn't be all of you. Rising sign. This would be anything that we already talked about. Health and well-being of the body. The physical body is represented by the rising sign. So this could be a test of health and well-being, or mental health and well-being. This is also how you present yourself to the world. You're going to be perhaps more serious. I'm not saying you're going to be boring or Debbie Downer or dry, but you could be. You could have more of a critical eye on how you look at the world. You know, the rising is like the lens, the glasses that we wear, and also how people see us. So you might not even notice this, but people might notice your demeanor changes just over the next few years, unless you want to take this with you for the rest of your career or livelihood or whatever, but you'll have a more serious spin to yourself. And you might be a little bit more cooler. If that, I don't mean like cool dude, I mean like your exterior, you give off a bit of a colder or cooler vibe. And that's not a bad thing. I mean, talk to any Capricorn or Aquarius rising. We're ruled by Saturn. We always give off a cool vibe, but it could just make you more serious, you know, and that could be a good thing when it comes to career perspectives, for example. It also brings a maturity, right? Saturn through the first house brings that maturity angle as well. Again, like I mentioned earlier, the wrinkles, the crow's feet, the wrinkles, the laugh lines, that's Saturn moving through the first house, where they're always there, but we just notice it more when Saturn is moving through the first house. Also, it could make you literally feel a little bit older. And this transit kind of slows you down in a good way. It can make you kind of feel heavy, Aries, moving through the first house, but it's slowing you down on purpose. And again, I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just trying to give you I'm trying to get you to feel this in your body, the energy in your body, because you are a sign of go, go, go. Saturn's going to help you slow down and be a little bit more methodical with your actions. It's kind of like, again, notice what you're noticing. Notice the steps you're taking. Things like that. It's almost like a mindful meditation that he's integrating into your day-to-day life, Aries. Also, conjunctions are new beginnings. So anytime a planet comes into contact with a rising sign, sun sign or moon sign, or anything you're watching for, this is technically a new beginning. There's new insights here coming through. There's launches. This is a merging of the two energies coming together. And again, Saturn, yes, he's restrictive. Yes, he can make you very frustrated, but he's going to also force you to slow down and step back and say, okay, why is this happening? You know, why? It's going to make you just ask those questions. And don't be hard on yourself, Aries. This can also be a transit where we're so hard on ourselves with Saturn in the first house. But ultimately, again, this is just giving you that thicker skin, Aries. And where this adds in another layer is, again, how is this aspecting your Saturn? Is it aspecting any other planets, placements, points? That's where the additional layers come in for you. But otherwise, I hope at least one of those things could have helped or resonated with you, Aries. And enjoy this transit, and we'll see you back here in the next video. Bye for now. Hey Taurus, let's talk about where Saturn will be building you up and giving you resiliency over the next 2.5 to 3 years. But first, let's talk about that 11th house where he started his trek through this area of life back in March of 2023. And he's still wrapping up a larger cycle. You know, he's just dipping his toe into Aries this year, and then he'll fully be in Aries next year in 2026. So the 11th house would have been all about older siblings. If you do have older siblings, 11th house is a real focus on groups, memberships, associations, affiliations that you are connected to. It could be unions, it could be professional or non-professional groups of people that you hang out with. And this is also the role that you play in these groups, memberships, affiliations, whatever you want to call that. 11th house is also about your hopes, your wishes, your dreams as well, Taurus. So I really hope Saturn helped you crystallize and solidify at least one wish, one hope, one commitment in at least one area of life over the past 3 years or so. This is the house also of social media, the internet, connecting with like-minded individuals. Humanitarian efforts are also covered off in this area of life as well. The 11th house is all about what lights you up and what lifts you up. So I also hope, Taurus, if anyone in your life was not supporting you, not lifting you up, I hope you at least put some distance between you and that person. At the end of the day, Saturn is about boundaries as well. So, and tests, right? Saturn would have tested these friendships, tested these relationships that you have with individuals. And again, I'm not trying to be negative about this transit. I hope you listen to the beginning of the video to kind of give you a feel, a flavor of what Saturn brings to these transits. At the end of the day, he's not a fluffy bunny transit or a planet. You know, he's that hard ass teacher, but in a good way. He thickens us up. He thickens up that skin, you know, makes us stand upright, makes us sit upright. You know, that's Saturn. So he is beneficial. It just comes at us at a different angle, Taurus. So I hope one of those areas that I mentioned there, you solidified something, like something came into form. Now he's moving into a quieter area of life, Taurus. Now, the 12th house, I'm going to be honest, some of you will feel this and some of you won't, because this is a hidden house. Sometimes when Saturn's working in the background, we don't feel it all the time anyway. He does creep up once in a while. So for example, if anything bubbles up to the surface during this time, Taurus, it's meant to come up because that's Saturn with the big rings, cleaning out the closets, cleaning out all the cobwebs, cleaning out the skeletons, bringing up the past. That's what Saturn kind of does in here, is he makes us turn a critical eye sometimes, not always, but sometimes towards our subconscious. And he makes things conscious. So all of a sudden, that hard lesson that you learned way, way back in the day suddenly comes up and you're like, where the hell did this come from? That's Saturn. So work with a therapist, work with a counselor, work with a practitioner or a healer if you need to, Taurus. This is definitely not for all of you. Again, take what resonates, leave the rest, because where this is going to add in additional layers is what is this transit doing in your chart? Is it making any conjunctions to any planets? Is it making any aspects or angles to anything in your birth chart? Because I'm just looking at a blank birth chart here. He's not making any direct aspects to you, whatever you're watching for, your sun, your moon, your rising. So this is where your personal birth chart would come in. He's also in this area of life asking you to downsize, restrict, let go of, get rid of things that you no longer need. Saturn's excellent at downsizing. Jupiter is the one that makes us buy a whole bunch of crap that we don't need. Saturn lets go of things, helps us let go of things. Like, do you really need all those things in the yard? Do you really need the big house? Do you really need, like, we start thinking about this kind of stuff. I'm not saying you have to act on all of those things, but you start thinking about downsizing, or less is better during this transit. This is all about preparing for a brand new cycle, Taurus. You know, Aries just went through this over the past 3 years. It's sort of like you could be working on something behind closed doors. You could be retreating, which is okay. You might crave solitude over the next 3 years. Again, totally fine. because you're working on something. You're like gestating on something. You're trying, something's trying to come into your conscious so you can make it, turn it into form when he comes into your first house, if that makes sense. They're kind of showing me something that's moving through your body, for example. Like it comes into your awareness, comes into your mind, and then you put it on paper, and then you take that piece of paper and do something with it, or do something with that idea when Saturn hops into Taurus. So I'm getting ahead of myself here, but the 12th house really is about working behind the scenes and closed doors. You actually might take on a more secretive approach to your life. Like I said, you might just drop out of existence, you know, which is okay during this transit. That is totally normal. Because again, once Saturn comes into your sign, it's full on. Then you're going to be back sort of in the public eye, so to speak. So now it's time to retreat, take a break. If you need to, take a break from work, take a break from career, because at the end of the day, Saturn is your career planet as well. If you're working. This depends on, of course, what stage of life you're in, if you're younger or older, but it's okay to take a step back and take a break and reassess career decisions, reassess business decisions, whatever your circumstance or situation is, Taurus. 12th house is also about awakenings. This could be rude awakenings or just spiritual awakenings or just epitomes or like aha moments. Again, I'm not trying to say something horrible is going to happen to you. It really depends on how you use this energy. This is diving into spiritual matters, whatever that is to you. So religion or angels or spirit guides or metaphysical things. Like you might seek out tarot readers or astrologers or psychics or mediums, or like you might seek out additional guidance. You might be called to do that while Saturn is transiting through the 12th house. Also, anything that you learn or work on the back end will stand the test of time. This is going to help you launch for when Saturn moves into that first house. Let's see here. Yeah, solitude, dreams, sleep, things like that Saturn will also help you with. So if you've been having issues with dreamlands or sleeping or anything like that, I think Saturn will help you out with that. I also just heard past life regressions. There we go. If you're interested in that, maybe check that out. Again, this is over the next 3 years, you guys. So no need to do anything fast. Saturn doesn't do anything fast. He's the brakes. He's not the gas pedal. Even though Aries is the gas pedal, Saturn's the brakes. So you might feel that yin and yang energy at times. Or you could get rolling with something and suddenly something or someone throws up that roadblock. That could also be the energy that this brings, because Aries wants to move forward, but Aries energy wants to move forward, but Saturn wants to pump the brakes and say, no, you got to go through, 10 things before you get there. Saturn purposely, this is purposeful delays and transitions and slowing things down on purpose, Taurus. So over the next 3 years, don't feel ashamed for taking a time out, for taking care of yourself. 12th house is also about healing on any level you want this to be. Physical healing, mental, psychological, spiritual, whatever you want to call it. It's healing in general, and maybe finding the right practitioner that's going to help you with that as well. Otherwise, I think that's about it, Taurus. Like I said, this really depends on, what do you have in Aries, if you do have anything in Aries, or how is this talking to the rest of your chart. But otherwise, Saturn won't come into contact with any of your planets for, another 3 years, unless you have something right at the cusp of Aries and Taurus. Then you will start feeling that in 2027, 2028. But otherwise, I would say take advantage of this transit. This is kind of a nice transit for you folks, with Saturn in the 12th house quietly kind of working away in the background. So like I said, you might notice this, you might not. Otherwise, Taurus, enjoy this transit, and we'll see you back here in the next video. Bye for now. Hey, Gemini, let's talk about the area of life where Saturn will be building you up and also giving you resiliency in this area of life. So first, Gemini, let's talk about that 10th house where Saturn has been transiting since March of 2023. Now, he is still wrapping up this area of life technically in 2025 and into early 2026. We're just getting a sneak peek this year with Saturn in Aries, and then it's full on in 2026, where he'll be in this area of life, Gemini, for the next 2.5, 3 years for you. So 10th house, this probably, Gemini, I'm going to go out on a limb. Was this easy? You know, first of all, Saturn was making squares to you over this transit. So whether you're watching for your sun, moon, or rising, he would have been challenging you, or there could have been external situations or external circumstances that came your way that felt heavy, frustrating, confusing, delays, roadblocks, whatever you want to call it, Gemini. Or did some of you experience success? You know, Saturn at the top of the sky can bring in bigger wealth than what people can realize. Same with Pluto. Saturn, Pluto, they're wealth. Jupiter is too, but Jupiter is like quick wealth, and then we spend it just as fast as we get it. Saturn's just more grounded wealth and setting you up for success for the test of time. So depends on how each and every one of you would have experienced this a little bit differently. 10th house is not only a career house, it's also about your status, your reputation, your standing. Again, rewards coming your way if you put in the work, Gemini. And I'm not saying only some of you did and some of you didn't. It depends on how you use this energy, right? And I can appreciate this isn't an angular house, Gemini. This probably wasn't easy for each and every one of you, but I hope if anything, Saturn built you up and gave you a thicker skin in this area of life. Maybe it wasn't about you. Maybe it was about a parent caring for an elder parent, mom, dad, authority figures, aunts, uncles, grandparents. Could have been about them, this transit. And the transitions or changes or difficulties that they went through or have been going through since March of 2023. Now, hopefully that's going to wrap up for you though, Gemini, or maybe you got some help to help them, help you, or whatever the case may be. Also, 10th house is you as a parent too, Gemini. So maybe your kids thought you were a hard ass over the past several years with Saturn. It does. Saturn gives us a cooler exterior as a parent, especially when he's transiting the 4th or 10th house. This could make you, like, you might not even realize that, but maybe your kids really notice that. But anyway, the thing is, not a bad thing. It is what it is. Saturn's cruising along, and this time Saturn's bringing you opportunities from this area of life. Now, I'm not going to say it's going to be a cakewalk. You know, I am an optimist, but I mean, it's still Saturn. He likes to teach us things, but he's kind of like a hard knock teacher. If you watch the beginning of my intro of Saturn, I tried to kind of get you in the mood, the feeling of what Saturn brings to each and every one of these transits for us. So what is the 11th house? This is all about older siblings, if you do have older siblings, friends, groups, memberships, associations, affiliations, unions, professional people, groups of people, whoever you hang out with. That's what this transit is going to be about, or it's going to make you turn a critical eye to these groups, memberships, associations, unions, professional associations, and also your role within these groups could be changing, could be transforming, or again, Saturn's going to make you turn a critical eye to this. Like, why am I doing this? Why am I doing everything? Like, Gemini, if you're one of those folks that take on everything in your social circles or your professional associations, or maybe you're a union steward or a union president, you know, you will be turning a critical eye to this, and you'll be dissecting, okay, do I really need to do this? Maybe it's time to pass the torch. And also, because Saturn restricts and constricts, he's, you know, think of the rings, the belt, tightening the belt. You're like tightening the belt in this area of life. So if there's anyone around you that does not lift you up, that does not bring you joy, that does not support you, I would recommend to distance yourself. Now, it's up to you if you want to completely end that relationship, but you can certainly distance yourself. And again, boundaries. You're going to have wicked boundaries, Gemini, after this transit, let me tell you, and that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing, Gemini. And if you're saying there, like, I'm not trying to instill fear, by the way. If you're a social butterfly, I mean, you are a social butterfly, you're Gemini. If you're a social butterfly and you have like 2.5 thousand friends on Facebook and all these other, like, that's fine, Gemini, that's fine. I'm just giving you an example. So take what resonates, leave the rest. I'm not telling you have to cut off your 2.5 thousand whatever followers. It's not about that. It's about your immediate social circle, that your connections with one-on-one people. You'll naturally start dissecting, like I said, those relationships and reassessing them at this time. 11th house is also, this is amazing for crystallizing your hopes, your wishes, your dreams. Saturn is the planet of form and structure. So he'll bring that. He'll bring a backbone to your hopes, your wishes, your dreams. Anything that you have written down on paper, Saturn can bring it into life, manifest it into life. So that's the good thing. But guess what? It's not going to happen overnight, and it's not going to happen like magic. I hate to say that. Saturn is realistic. He brings things into form, yes, but guess how they're going to come into form? By you, or by the help of a group, an affiliation, an association, or maybe even an older sibling. Again, apply this to your situation. So anything you want to get off the ground, probably, like, you could probably do it yourself, Gemini, but it would probably be better or work faster, or just there's a connection there to the other, like other people helping you out during this transit. 11th house is also social media. So again, building up a social media base, or getting rid of apps. You know, Saturn, again, reduce. Maybe you have every single app you can think of. Maybe during this transit, you'll crave to get rid of things. Like, do you really need all those social media platforms? Maybe reduce it down to the ones that you make money on, or the ones that you get the best traction on. That could be a possibility as well with Saturn moving through this house. This is the house of the future. Think big, Gemini. Again, this is sextiling your planet placements points. So bringing in opportunity of career. I also heard for you reigniting like your life force, vitality, because that's also what the sun is. The sun is our vitality, the self-expression, the career. So something, I just heard something to do with like a spark of life, which, you know, this is, the 11th house is a lucky house. But again, with Saturn here, he's going to make you work for it. He's not going to just automatically give you something. Like, you'll work for it. If you gain anything from this transit, Gemini, it's going to be because the sweat off your own brow. It's, or other people, you know, other people helping you out. It's not so much a windfall type of energy. But the 11th house is a lighter house. Like, this isn't a bad transit because it's bringing in opportunities for you. If you're watching for your Gemini moon, this would be, again, opportunities coming in through the home front, whether you're working or not working, or retirement. This is whatever you do on a day-to-day basis. So if you don't work, what do you do on a day-to-day basis? This would be excellent time, actually, to dive into anything to do with groups, like-minded individuals, Gemini. But could be changes to the home front. If you want to make any changes to the home front, that could be a possibility with this transit. Also, speaking of mother, father, that should get easier. If there were any challenges that your parents were going through over the past 3 years or so, since 2023, that should ease up in some way, shape, or form. It might not be 100% off your plate, Gemini, but it should help in some way, shape, or form. Older siblings, if you have an older sibling, they might need your help during this transit. They might go through a difficult time during this transit. Again, I'm not trying to instill fear. I'm not trying, I swear I'm not trying to make you panic, Gemini. I'm just trying to give you some recommendations or suggestions of the symbolism of this transit. Again, this is going to depend on what you're watching for and your personal birth chart as well, how this Saturn is talking to the rest of your birth chart. Now, if it's your rising sign, this could be about how you present yourself to the world. Again, something to do with your health and well-being of the body, because Saturn also might bring in opportunities to get healthy, or if you want to lose weight or change your body image in any way, shape, or form, Saturn can help you with that. Saturn restricts, constricts, right? So if you want to get in shape, get a little bit more healthier, Saturn will bring that in for you as well. Only if you're interested. Also, rising sign, rising Geminis, this is about how people view you as well. So this could be a good thing for your image. And again, putting yourself out there. If there's anything you want to launch or put out there, again, this is the house of social media. This should help you get out there. And even bring like a professional business tone, I feel, for you too as Gemini. Like almost like a maturing aspect, but not quite yet. That's more so when Saturn is actually in your house. But Saturn will make aspects to your rising sign. If this is your rising sign, this will be about how you present yourself, how you present that business project, that idea, that pitch, whatever that is. That Saturn is going to help you with that. Also, Saturn will be making an aspect to your love line. If this is your rising sign that you're watching for, that means your love line runs through Sagittarius. Saturn's making an aspect there. So this could actually bring in a serious partnership, whether in love, in business, or in friendship, or like-minded individuals. This is really nice actually for your partnership sector as well, Gemini. Nice energy coming in for your partner too. If you're already connected with somebody, whether through business or love, this is actually nice energy coming in for them as well. This is flowing energy coming into their sign. So yeah, very beautiful transit. So Gemini, I love this for you. I think this is going to be, dare I say, a little bit easier on you over the next 3 years versus the last 3 years, if that makes sense. So this is definitely something to look forward to, Gemini. So I really hope you enjoy this Saturn transit, and we'll see you back here in the next video. Bye for now. Hey, Cancer, let's talk about where Saturn will be building you up and giving you resiliency in at least one area of life over the next several years. So Cancer, first let's talk about where Saturn was beginning March of 2023. Now he still will come back to this area of life. He's going to be wrapping something up later on in 2025 and early 2026, and then Saturn will permanently move into Aries in 2026, but we're just getting a sneak peek, a quick taste tester of Saturn in Aries this year. So 9th house, this is all about religion, spirituality, whatever that means for you. This is higher education. This is learning something new and pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone. This is about long distance trips, traveling foreign lands, foreign cultures, things that are overseas, wherever you are on the planet, whatever that means, whatever overseas means to you. This is your ethics, belief systems, and dealing with people, all walks of life, all over the world as well. There would have been like an international feel, perhaps for some of you over the last several years. So for those of you that went to school or wrapping up school this year, excellent example of bringing that now, bringing all of what you learned in this 9th house of higher education, teaching, coaching, mentorship. Maybe some of you took a program or a mastermind or a course on how to be a mentor, how to be a coach, regardless of your age. So this is now time to wrap all of that up in 2025 and bring that into your career sector, into the sector of public status and public standing and public reputation. I can appreciate that probably doesn't resonate with all of you, but that's a really good, simple example of taking something from the 9th house, because again, Saturn builds life experience wherever he goes, each and every sign, each and every house. So that's a good example of carrying it forward now into your career, and now it's time to launch. So for those of you working, and this resonates with, now it's time to bring it into form, apply it, because Saturn will now be testing your knowledge. Or maybe that already happened while Saturn was in the 9th house, because he can also test what you have learned in the past perhaps 30 years ago when Saturn went through this area of your sky as well, because this is the top public area of your sky as well, Cancer. So even think back to 1996 to 1999, he would have been testing. He is going to be testing this area of life and coming back around. That's if for those of you, of course, that were here and with us and alive in the 90s, mid to late 90s. Now, Saturn moving into the 10th house. Let's focus on that. So as I mentioned, career, status, reputation. This is a very public eye, public image, or public standing of where Saturn is going to be activating the top of your chart. This is also about status. So some of you could get married under this transit. Again, take what resonates, leave the rest. I don't know how this is talking to your personal birth chart, Cancer. I'm just going to give you some examples. But status could be changing at this time. So some of you could get married, but then some of you, the opposite could happen. I'm not trying to instill fear. That's for those of you that this resonates with, because Saturn is your relationship planet. So for those of you that are looking to get out of a career, out of a relationship with a boss or a business, even like a business partnership, something to do with the business sector, Saturn at the top of your sky will put pressure on you, but in a good way, to finally make a move. This is a tension aspect, Cancer, to you and also to your relationship sector. So like I said, this is a window of time. You don't have to do this right away, but you're going to have this transit for about 2.5, 3 years. So Saturn will help you line things up so you can get out of your career, so you can transition into a new career, so you can transition out of a partnership and perhaps into a new partnership. So I don't, like I said, I don't want to instill fear. I could just see this going either way, depending on your personal circumstances. So, like I said, Saturn could change your status, married to divorced or single again, or again, single to maybe common law or being engaged during the next 3 years. Or again, maybe you are very successful in your career and now it's time to retire. Now it's like you're throwing in the towel. You're like, you know what? I've had enough. Now it's time to transition into something new. So it doesn't mean your career is going to end, Cancer. This is a transitionary period of what do you want to do for the rest of your life if you're not happy in your current circumstances. And if you are, this just means that something's going to change. So this might not be about you. This might be about changes at the top of the food chain. If you work for a company, work for a business, there could be changes in leadership, changes in management, whatever that means, like restructuring of the company could happen when Saturn transits through the 10th house as well. Now, if your true midheaven goes through here, Cancer, and if your true home line goes through Libra, this could also impact your home life too. This could be a move. This could be a move for work, or for work reasons, or for career reasons. But that's not going to apply to all of you, because again, I would have to see if your midheaven goes through Aries. That means your IC goes through Libra. So that's only for those of you that this is your true 10th house and Libra is your true 4th house, because this is a big angle, Cancer. This is a life-changing transit. Saturn does not come around here very often. Every 30 years, he hits this area of life. So if you want to change your circumstances, Cancer, if you want to change your living, your place of living, your relationships, your friendships, love, business, whatever it is, something about you, maybe you want to incorporate new dietary changes or new health regimes, Saturn is going to help you do that. Saturn can also help you change how you project yourself into the world. So how, if your rising sign is through Cancer, this is about your physical body. This is about changes or challenges to the physical body. This transit's going to help you. This transit's going to wake you up and say, okay, here's some internal difficulty. Here's some struggle I'm sending your way, meaning hint, hint, wink, wink, change your life, Cancer. If that makes sense. What else? What else? Okay, if your parents are still with us, this could mean a parent, a mother, father, grandfather, grandmother, an authority figure in your life might need some help from you. So they might be a little bit more needy during this transit, but it just means they need some help, Cancer. This isn't forever. This is a three-year transit, so it just means they might need to lean on you a little bit more over the next several years. Or again, maybe they're going through a transition or a challenging time in their life, and then you are going to be the support system for them. Because again, Saturn's responsibility as well. So you'll be there for them to lean on. And again, this is not for all of you. This is just an example. Okay, let's see here, Cancer. What else can we talk about? So if you are watching for your sun sign, so this would be your personality, your vitality, your self-expression. This is also the ego. And again, this could be a male or father figure in your life as well, like what we talked about, and your career. So again, a square could bring in internal challenges. So you're not battling with other people. You could be. Like Saturn in the 10th house can really bring in crotchety bosses. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, Cancer. But again, think about it. This could be happening to make you uncomfortable so you find the career of your dreams. Saturn can do that. Saturn crystallizes our dreams into focus. Now, I can't say that about any other planet, really. The other planets do support and help, but Saturn is the one that brings it form. Again, Saturn rules the bones, the teeth, the structures of the body. So think about that, bringing something into form. So that could be another example as well. But Saturn squaring your sun, make sure you're taking care of your health and vitality. Same goes with your rising sign. If you're watching for your rising, this is about the health and well-being of your body and how you're taking care of it. So if you haven't really been doing that, Cancer, really good time to start now, I would say, because Saturn might bring in some challenges when it comes to your health and well-being. Again, he's testing you and he's trying to thicken up your skin a little bit for when he comes around to Cancer. That's when he's going to test your life force and your vitality again. So this is kind of a preparatory stage for you as well, Cancer. Again, could bring in the career of your dreams when it comes to your sun. If it's your moon, if you got your moon in Cancer, this is again something to do with mother, father figures in your life, or something to do with the home. More duty and responsibility coming in through the home, changes on the home front, or challenges on the home front. Again, this is not to torment you, Cancer. I'm not trying to be negative. Hopefully you watched the beginning of my video to kind of give you a feel of what Saturn brings to these transits. He's not a fluffy bunny, cotton candy, rainbow, sunshine, and Skittles transit. He's just not. So I can only sugarcoat this stuff so much, Cancer. So I do apologize, but Saturn can change our lives. Like, this is a life-changing transit for you. So I would say take advantage of it. And again, it's not going to be forever. It's going to pass. It's going to eventually move into your 11th house, which is going to be easier flowing energy to you. But now it's time to get to work. Now it's time to put pencil to paper, get some traction when it comes to whatever it is that you want to change about your circumstances. This is also pushing you to succeed in, again, career, or if you are retired or moving into retirement over the next 3 years, you know, take a break if you want to take a break or take a step back from the career. But then again, when Saturn moves into that 11th house, I almost guarantee you'll want to get involved in group or humanitarian efforts. Or again, this is about the legacy you want to leave behind, you know, for your kids, for your grandchildren, ancestry, however you want to incorporate this into your life, Cancer. Otherwise, enjoy this transit, and we'll see you back here in the next video. Bye for now. Hey, Leo, let's talk about where Saturn will be building you up in a new area of life and also giving you resiliency over the next several years. But first, let's talk about where Saturn is wrapping up. So he started in your Piscean 8th house back in March of 2023. So we're just getting a taste tester this year in 2025, depending on when you're watching for this. And he'll fully move into your 9th house in 2026. So let's talk about where he has been 8th house is a very heavy house, Leo. It's about deep psychological matters, a little bit about the psychological or psyche mind, the subconscious mind. 8th house is also about big transformational change. It is connected to your finances, Leo. So I hope that sort of resonates of you had some sort of big change or big realization on the financial front, whatever that means for you. 8th house is quite literally about death and rebirth. I'm not saying you died or you will be dying, Leo, but this just puts a focus on mortality. So wills, inheritances might have crossed your mind, or maybe perhaps over the last 3 years, you drew up a will, or maybe you talked to your loved ones about preparing for them passing, or whatever the case may be. Again, this is not for everyone, Leo. I'm just giving out some examples. Take what resonates and leave the rest. 8th house is also about taxes, debts, loans. This might have felt a little bit more heavier, Leo, over the past 3 years. But again, hopefully with Saturn now exiting this sign, you can take these financial or possibly hard lessons from a financial angle with you now for the rest of Saturn's transit throughout, well, the rest of your life, because Saturn will not come back to this Piscean 8th house for you, Leo, for another 30 years. So Saturn moving through a financial house can be a burden. Like I said, it can be hard on the pocketbook, but again, it could really build your wealth as well, Leo. So investments, finances, savings, property, as I mentioned, inheritance as well. That topic might have come up, or these topics might have come up over the last several years. Also, Saturn moving through the 8th house. Did you build a business? Did you launch a business? Did you release a business, Leo? Did you get a mortgage, a car loan, some sort of loan to launch your business or start building your business? Saturn can help us here as well. Did you consolidate debt? Did you wrap up debt? Did you let go of debt? Or did you take on new debt? This really depends on each and every one of us and how we utilized this energy, Leo. So I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer about it. I'm not trying to be negative. This is just Saturn. This is what he does. At the end of the day, he's building us up. He's giving us that thick Leo skin in this area of life. Also, the 8th house is about sexuality too, and passion. That might have felt lacking, Leo, over the past 3 years. So again, maybe not for all of you if this is your true 8th house, but if it is and you felt that sort of lack on the intimacy front, that should actually pass now with Saturn moving into this 9th house. 8th house is also about fear, power, control. That might have come up to Leo, whether consciously or unconsciously, you might have felt that at some point with someone or something or a situation. It might have been triggering for you as well. Again, not for all of you, but hopefully you worked with a therapist, a counselor, a healer to work through those issues, or leaned on some professional support, do whatever to do with your circumstances. 8th house is also our partner's money. So for those of you that are married or connected to a partner in some way, shape, or form, business, friends, family, whatever, this could have been, for those of you that went through a separation, Saturn here would have hopefully helped separation of assets, or again, downsizing, downgrading in this area of life. Maybe your partner's finances were challenged over the last 3 years as well. Again, apply this to your scenario circumstances. If that's the case, by the way, Leo, and your partner's finances have been lacking, again, that should pass. Saturn moving into the 9th house should ease up on not only your finances and investments and resources, but your partners as well. Any investments you made since March of 2023, hopefully you didn't touch them. So I'm not talking about putting something in a savings account and then pulling it out right away. Anything long-term investment should pay off. Anything that you invested in that 8th house. So even buying property, that's an investment, right? That should pay dividends. Much, much more paid out should be coming to you, but later on. This is not a get rich quick transit. Saturn is not about that. Saturn is about time and putting your money into an account or a savings where it can build wealth for you over time. So like 401k, RSPs, GICs is sort of what I'm thinking of. So enough about the eighth house. That's the eighth house. That's Leo, where he's wrapping something up in that area of life. Now the ninth house is a lighter house for you because this is now trining and supporting your Leo planets, placements, points, whatever you're watching for Leo. So you will like this transit a lot better than perhaps that eighth house transit. But again, it depends on how you utilize this energy. Ninth house is all about religion and spirituality, whatever that means for you. This is legal matters. This is higher education, teaching, mentoring, coaching, training, learning something new. This is also the house of our ethics and belief systems. This is the house of anything to do with international matters or international paperwork. So think passports, immigration, citizenship, things like that. And also dealing with foreign lands, foreign cultures, whatever that means to you, usually at a great distance, not so much in your local vicinity or your local environment. This is going bigger, Leo, like think global. This is also the house that's challenging you to push yourself outside of your comfort zone. Now, with that said, with all that said, that's just some examples of what this ninth house energy can bring, Leo. Now, Saturn is going to test and challenge this area of life for you. Again, I'm not trying to be negative. This is just what Saturn does. If you are diving into a brand new educational pursuit, Leo, this is a fantastic time to do it. Because Saturn up here, whatever you learn, whatever you do, whatever you teach, if you want to become a coach or go to a mastermind, this will stand the test of time. Because whatever you do, whatever lessons or seeds you plant during this time, you're going to reap the rewards when Saturn moves into your 10th house. I know that's about 3 years from now, but you're building on something. Wherever Saturn goes, we're constantly building until either Saturn pops into our first house, that's a new 30-year cycle, or Saturn comes up against our natal Saturn, that's also a Saturn return. So that's another 30-year cycle that we're building. We're constantly building on something and learning something new with Saturn, if that makes sense. So excellent time to dive into educational pursuits, anything to do with learning something new, or again, becoming something or someone, going back to school, wrapping up school, whatever the case may be. Saturn could also test this too. So for those of you that are, maybe you did something or again, launched something while Saturn was in the 8th house, Saturn could just come along and test your knowledge base, excuse me, test what you already know, Leo, and again, bring in those new lessons on building on your business or building on your ethics or belief system. Something here might make you gut check something, possibly. Again, I'm just throwing out some examples here. Now, if you are watching for your sun, Leo sun, Saturn at some point will make a trine to your sun. So this means good news coming into the career sector, good news with career, bosses, authority figures. If you're a boss, if you're a leader, Leo, this is an incredible time, incredible energy, supportive growth coming into your career. This is about building. Saturn moving now across the top of your sky, Leo, this is about building whatever it is that you want from a public eye perspective, how you want to project yourself out and onto the world. So Saturn, now that he's visible, more visible in your chart, he's going to help you build that status and reputation. And if you put in the work, Leo, trust me, Saturn is going to bring you in bigger, better, long-standing rewards than you could have ever imagined. Saturn can do that. I cannot say that about the other planets. Pluto is a wealth god too, but Saturn, yes, this is the sweat of your own brow, Leo, but nothing feels better than earned success and not just handed to you, right? This is about you building your empire now, Leo, and you sitting quite literally on your throne. And this is just the beginning though. And this is a slow transit. So if you're thinking to yourself, well, that can't possibly be because I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know where I'm going to be in 3 years. Give it time. Give it time to percolate, because Saturn's nudging you in this area of the gods. This is the house of the gods, Leo. So you're being nudged to learn something new so you can carry it into your career or status or reputation or whatever the case may be. And again, if you're retired, apply this to your circumstances, Leo. I can appreciate not all of us are working, but again, this is part of the legacy you want to leave behind. For those of you that are not working, you know, maybe you're a parent, maybe you're a stay-at-home parent. Maybe this is about raising those kids, or a farm. Maybe you work on a farm. This is about, again, building that empire and what you want to take into the future and the legacy, the gifts that you want to leave behind to your kids or grandkids or whoever it may be. You fill in the blank. Also, if it's your sun sign, this could be benefits coming into father figures or male figures in your life as well. Or again, if you're a boss, Leo, this is going to jazz you up and give you those opportunities as well for growth and expansion and building on the career or the business that you want. If it's your moon sign, this is something to do with the home front. This could also be buying property internationally as well, Leo. I'm going to throw that out there. Ninth house is about, again, foreign lands, foreign cultures, or going back to your homeland or having some sort of connection to your homeland. Ninth house, if I didn't already mention, long distance trips too could be very beneficial for you at this time as well. Again, 3-year transit, not a light switch. You don't have to do it right away, but that could be coming in over the next several years. Moon sign, this could also have something to do with a mother or female figures in your life. There could be benefits coming to her as well, or again, a motherly type of figure in your life. Rising sign, again, this is about you, how you present yourself to the world. It's the lenses, the glasses we wear. This is going to power you up, Leo. This is going to jazz you up. But again, be prepared to put in the work. I'm trying not to go negative here or too optimistic, because at the end of the day, this is Saturn, right? Saturn just wants to teach us something. He's a teacher, just like Jupiter, but they have different styles. But at the end of the day, this is a trine to you, Leo. So it should be, I'm being optimistic about this. It should be a hell of a lot easier than, say, Saturn moving through your 8th house. So that's definitely something you can look forward to, Leo. Otherwise, enjoy this transit, and we'll see you back here in the next video. Bye for now. Hey, Virgo, let's talk about Saturn and what area of life he will be building you up in over the next 3 years, and also giving you resiliency and a thicker skin in this area of life, Virgo. But first, let's talk about where Saturn is wrapping up, because he's just dipping his toe in the Aries pool of life in 2025. And then in 2026, he'll be fully permanently in your 8th house of Aries. Now, let's talk about this opposition that you have been experiencing over the last 3 years or so. So think back to March of 2023. That's when Saturn hopped into Pisces, officially opposing all of your planets, placements, or points. So Virgo, pretty straightforward, the 7th house, anything to do with other people, whether this is your marital partnerships. Did some of you get married? I would not be surprised. Saturn moving across the love line. This is your rising sign. Could have been about marriage, marital partnerships, and you actually getting married and tying the knot and making a commitment to someone for, well, the rest of your existence, right, Virgo? Now, Saturn in the 7th house can also bring in very serious, grounded business partnerships as well, or friendships, or anybody that you want to lock in with, like making that commitment with. 7th house is also about contracts, agreements, and negotiations. So Virgo, what did you sign on the dotted line for over the past 3 years? That's making a commitment to something or someone. So Virgo, the other side of the coin is, I can appreciate this probably wasn't the easiest transit for you, because Saturn can also challenge and restrict and test this area of life. So maybe some of you separated. I can appreciate that. Speaking of marriage, Saturn opposing planets, placements, points, especially if you even have Venus in Virgo, maybe you separated from someone or something separation from a business, separation from a marital relationship, a separation from a job, a commitment to an employer, a commitment to your business partner, whatever the case may be. Maybe that was broken during this transit, because Saturn can also do that as well, Virgo. So I can definitely appreciate that. Again, I'm not trying to Debbie down this transit. I'm not looking at your personal birth chart, so I don't know how else Saturn was talking to your birth chart. Maybe some of you felt this more than others. Again, it depends on what you're watching for. So that would have been Saturn testing all of your relationships. So you can breathe a sigh of relief, Virgo, because he's moving on now and he's not making any direct aspects to your Virgo placements. He's making an inconjunct, and yeah, it's as awkward as it sounds, Virgo. So I'm not saying you're not going to feel this transit, and again, if you have anything in Libra, well, then he'll be opposing those planets placements points over the next 3 years. But all in all, in summary, what is the 8th house? So the 8th house is heavy. I'm not going to lie about that, Virgo. It is heavy, but just keep in mind, this is not forever. Saturn is going to build up your finances and your resources in this area of life, but it's not going to be a light switch, and it's not going to be, dare I say, easy. Because again, hopefully you watched the beginning of my video. Saturn is not a fluffy bunny, rainbows and Skittles and sunshine and roses and all that stuff, Virgo. I hate to say it. Saturn is the hard-ass teacher. He makes us learn the lessons the hard way. The amazing teacher is Jupiter. He's easy, you know, he's a little bit easier to deal with than Saturn. So, I mean, I hate to be biased, but if you work with Saturn, he will build your wealth greater than you can ever imagine, and hell of a lot better than what Jupiter could ever deliver to you. Also Pluto too. Pluto is a wealthy god. Saturn is a wealthy god. People kind of forget that. It's just that Saturn doesn't bring you a windfall. Saturn's like, no, you're going to build an empire by the sweat of your own brow, Virgo. So not a bad thing. And I feel like you're one of the signs, all the earth signs, I feel like you get this. You know what it's like to put your fingernails in the soil and just get shit done and get building on something, right? So everyone's going to experience this a little bit differently. 8th house is also a deep, intense psychological house. So for some of you, this just might be a subconscious transit or a psychological transit or a transit of the psyche, of Saturn bringing up things from the past, and for a reason. Saturn's bringing it up so you can acknowledge it, recognize it, heal it, and let it go. Easier said than done, I can appreciate. But work with someone. You know, if you're in pain, Virgo, if you have pain from the past, an excellent time to get in touch with a healer, a mentor, a coach, whoever, to lift you out of this funk, if you get into a funk with this 8th house. Because the 8th house is also about fear, power, and control issues. They also might bubble up to the surface. Again, everyone is going to deal with this differently. But Saturn, when he moves along into your 9th house, which is going to be a lot easier for you, you're going through the thick of it right now, and you're starting to build on something. Saturn's coming up to the top of your sky. So he's helping you build resiliency in your public image for something that's going to get public soon. And I don't mean that in a negative way. For those of you like building a business, building a career, again, Saturn's helping you build towards a culmination point when he gets to your 10th house. And this could be retirement. This could be launching a second business or moving into a new career. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself here. But he's building a foundation. He's just starting that right now. 8th house is big change, big life transformational change, because it is a financial house. And it seems like finances seem to be, you know, not only the motivation, but sort of ingrained in the base of our decision making at times. Not for everyone, not everyone's going to resonate with that, but it's part of the foundation that we're building up. 8th house is taxes, debts, loans. That could feel heavier, Virgo, over the next several years. But the good thing about Saturn here, Tighten the belt. That's what those rings do. They squeeze you in a good way. Get rid of debt. Get rid of shit that you don't need, Virgo. Downsize. Do you need those 3 boats sitting in your yard right now? Do you need those 3 sports cars sitting in your garage? And I hope I'm not offending anyone. But this transit is really going to make you think about that. Like, do I really need all this stuff around me? Do I need those multiple properties? Do I really need that? Can I let them go and then invest that money? Anything you invest in right now, property, finances, investments, 401k, RSPs, GICs, whatever, should stand the test of time. I'm not a financial advisor, but it is an 8th house and it is Saturn. Saturn's going to build your wealth. However, I'm not saying, go pull your money out in 3 years. That's not what this transit is saying. This is investing for the future, for the long term. This isn't a get rich quick thing. This is investing and making those smart, intelligent decisions, whether it is property, investing in a property, or finances, or investments, or inheritance, or whatever this is. Speaking of inheritance, depending on your age, you might think about your mortality more with Saturn in the 8th house. So I'm not saying you're going to die, but this is when Saturn reminds you of your age, of like, hey, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Maybe do up that will. Maybe talk to somebody about helping you out with a will or inheritance, or talk to your loved ones about how you want to be buried, how you want to treat your body, how you want your loved ones to treat your body when you pass. Yes, those type of conversations could come up. This is not for everyone, okay? This depends on your age, but those type of conversations could come up as well. I'm just throwing out examples, Virgo. Take what resonates, leave the rest. Now, this is your other partner's income. This is the house of other people's money. So Virgo, if you're attached to someone through marriage, business, family, whatever, this could be about their finances or resources getting a squeeze. So this might not be about you. This might be about them. Their finances might go through some tension over the next 3 years because this aspect is testing their resources. It doesn't mean you're going to go broke. It doesn't mean they're going to go broke. But their financial source, resources might decrease at this time. Whether they're letting go of stuff or some sort of income stream dries up during this time or reduces. Again, depends on how this energy is going to manifest in your life. So be prepared for that as well. But again, this is where you build that resiliency, right? What happens when an income stream dries up? What happens when you lose a job? And I'm not saying you will. Okay, this is where I would need to see your personal birth chart, because it's not just a Saturn transit. There's other things that have to happen in the chart when somebody gets let go from a job. I'm just saying something might dry up. So how are you going to handle that? That's going to build resiliency in this area of life. And again, you can take this with you. You can put these in your back pocket, these lessons, and take them with you, Virgo. Also, the last thing I'll mention about the 8th house, again, this might not resonate with all of you, is 8th house is all about sex and passion, quite literally, with another person. Depending on your situation, if you're in a partnership or not. And if you're not in a partnership, this could be about, again, you feel like you're not satisfied from a sexual perspective, or if you have any issues from a sexual perspective, that could come up at this time. I know that's kind of sensitive and awkward to talk about, but it is the 8th house. It is Saturn. Wherever Saturn goes, he restricts, constricts, and also he's a drying planet. So again, just something to be aware of. Again, this depends on your age, if you're in a relationship or not, but there could be some tension when it comes to fancy time between the sheets, for example. This might not be you, this might be your partner. Again, this depends on how this is playing out in your birth chart, if this is even your true 8th house, Virgo, or same with your partner, their birth chart, and how this is playing out in their chart as well. Otherwise, Virgo, like I said, this is not making any aspects to your planets, placements, points. That's going to happen. That already happened with Saturn in Pisces, and then when Saturn moves into Taurus, he'll be bringing in more harmonious flowing energy into your planets, placements, points. But I'm getting ahead of myself here. Let's focus on one transit at a time. Otherwise, Virgo, enjoy this Saturn transit, and we'll see you back here in the next video. Bye for now. Hey Libra, let's talk about Saturn and the area of life he will be building you up and giving you resiliency in this area of life. Now, before we dive into Aries and your 7th house, let's talk about where he is wrapping up a larger story that started March of 2023. He'll be just dipping his toe in the Aries pool of your 7th house for a short time in 2025. And then in 2026, he'll be diving in full on, full bore, all systems go when he goes into Aries permanently in 2026 and beyond. So Libra, let's first talk about this 6th house of Pisces. This is all about day-to-day duty and responsibility. I'm going to be honest with you. Saturn over the last 3 years, 2.5, 3 years in this area of life probably felt heavy for some of you. It depends on if you're working or not. You know, it depends on, again, what does duty and responsibility mean to you? Who do you have a duty and responsibility to? There might have been more responsibility that came your way in this area of life. So this could have been about work. This could have been about volunteer efforts if you're not working, or this could have been something to do with your health and well-being and challenges to your health and well-being and diet and dietary restrictions and getting your health back on track. Or this could have been about maybe a pet and challenges to your pets or with your pets, or maybe paying extra attention to your pets over the past 3 years or so. For those of you that own a business, run a business, this is also about you and the coworkers and the people that work with you and for you as well. This could have even been about trying to find somebody to cut your lawn or clear your gutters or shovel your snow, whatever the case may be. That's the area of life as well, where Saturn would have been sitting. So some of this could have been a burden. Some of this could have been challenging or felt restrictive at times. I'm not trying to Debbie down this or make this negative. Hopefully you watched the beginning of the video. I tried to give you a feel, a flavor of what Saturn feels like when he moves through a house. I can't fluffy bunny this, Libra. You know, there's only so, I am an optimist and I do my best to look at all of these transits in a positive light, because at the end of the day, that's what they're here to do, is help us, not work against us. That is us that works against the energy, and then we blame the planets. That's not how this energy works. But it is Saturn. He's not rainbows and sunshines and unicorns and Skittles and all stuff falling from the sky. Saturn makes us put in the work, Libra. So I hate to say that. I know some of you probably don't want to hear that. But Saturn at the end of the day can give us riches and wealth and whatever we want beyond our wildest dreams. And he can bring in manifestation. He is the planet that crystallizes whatever it is that we want. So Libra, moving through that 6th house of being of service. How were you called to be of service over the past 3 years? And hopefully you heeded those lessons and learned the lessons. Like I said, maybe it's just as simple as getting your health and your body back on track. And now you can continue to carry those lessons with you, because Saturn will not be back in this area of life for another 30 years or so. Now let's talk about the 7th house. Your opposite sign. This is actually the house of you. You are connected to the 7th house, Libra. So Saturn in here can bring in a committed relationship. So for those of you that are connected with a loved one or connected to someone, this could be marriage or bringing in a marital type of partner, like a serious partner, or this could be getting engaged, like taking your relationship somehow to the next level. Moving in together, buying a house together. This could be going into business together. So if this isn't about love and those type of commitments, this is about a business relationship, a business commitment, signing on the dotted line to something or someone, a person, place, or thing. So again, apply this to your circumstance, Libra. But by the end of this Saturn transit, which isn't going to wrap up until 2028, You're going to be making a commitment to someone or something. It could be a person, a place, or a thing. So again, apply this to your circumstance, Libra. Now, on the flip side, because yes, this is Saturn. Yes, he's a hard teacher. Jupiter is the easy teacher. Saturn is the hard ass teacher. Yes, it is what it is, Libra. And again, I'm not trying to take a negative spin on this because this can be very positive. There's a lot of Librans out there that'll probably get married during this transit, and probably a lot of Aries as well. Those folks will get married possibly during this transit. But if you are saying to yourself, Stacey, I'm not in the right relationship. I'm not in the right career. I'm not in the right living circumstances or living situation, and I need to get out. Guess what? Good news. Saturn also separates wherever he goes, especially oppositions. So Saturn will help you get out of a crappy relationship, Libra. This isn't for everyone, so please don't panic. If your relationship is fine, it just means your relationship is going to go through some tests. Isn't that what marriage is? Like, marriage is not, again, like easy peasy street. Any relationship is hard work. And if any sign knows that, I know it's got to be a Libran that knows that relationships are tough. Relationships are hard work. But again, you put in the work, and relationships can be so rewarding, whether in love or business or friendships, right? This can bring in also solid people that you can rely on. Because again, this is anything to do with another person. So this could bring in some really amazing people into your life. But sorry, going back to what I was talking about, this is a transit, Libra, where you could change your life because it's hitting a big angular house. Again, I don't have your birth chart in front of me. I'm just going by this blank one, that all of the cardinal signs could be going through big life changes. So that's Cancer, Capricorn, you, and Aries. So if you want to get out of a relationship, if you want to get out of a career, if you want to move, this could be the transit that's going to help you, nudge you, get out and get away from this person, place, or thing, Libra. So this could actually be quite liberating. If you're in a relationship that's suffocating you, Saturn's going to help you get out. Or Saturn's going to put pressure on you to change it in some way, shape, or form. Now, oppositions. So at some point, Saturn's going to be opposing your Libra planets, placements, points. So oppositions bring manifestation. They bring balance. I mean, you're the epitome of balance. So you might need to rebalance a relationship, rebalance work-life balance, whatever that means for you. Compromise with someone or something. Again, a person, place, or thing, someone you're connected with. This is about integrating something into your current relationships. Give or take sort of comes to mind here. This is slow but consistent, persistent action and change in this area of life. Saturn's not a light switch. So what I'm talking about now, you might not even have a clue how this transit will impact you. Because again, this is a 3-year transit. So this is slow and steady wins the race. And Saturn's really going to tame down the flames and the fire of Aries, like I described earlier in the video, which I personally think is a good thing. I don't think this is a bad transit at all for anyone. And again, this is the transit where we can change any aspect of our lives that we want to, if we want to work with this energy. But we got to put in the work though. Saturn doesn't just hand it to us. He makes us work for it. But then we feel that much better in our bones, in our bodies. Like, hey, I did this. I built my empire by doing XYZ. Now, oppositions can also bring in external circumstances to you. So meaning you might need to respond or react to external circumstances that are happening outside of your control, and you need to do something about it. So one thing I'm thinking of is, you know, if you say to yourself, no, I'm alone, I'm single, I'm going to stay in my little hut and I'm not going to move. What if your town or city or place of living gets evacuated? Are you going to stay in your home and your place of living? No, you're going to collect your personal belongings. You're going to collect what's valuable to you, photo albums, animals, pets, your family, antiques that you have laying around the house. You're going to collect them, you're going to shove them in your vehicle, and you're going to get out, right? Now, I'm not saying, I hope I'm not triggering anybody by this. I'm not saying this is going to happen to you, but that's what they're showing me, is some of you might try to avoid this by hunkering down. And trust me, I've been there, done that, Libra, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work because oppositions bring in outside stuff that we have to pivot. We have to change. It forces us to change, but there's always a silver lining here, Libra. So again, I'm just throwing out some ideas. I hope I don't upset anybody. I'm just trying to give you some highlights or some things to think about over the next several years of what this could mean for you. So again, if it's your sun sign, this could be about a career situation, could be about your health and well-being and how you're taking care of the body. I know you already are going through a transit like that with Saturn moving through Pisces, but this could be a continuation of a test of your health and well-being and how you're taking care of yourself. Not a doom and gloom thing though. Again, tests, resiliency, building something in this area of life. Moon sign, we talked about this. You know, this could be about your home, your family, your living circumstances or your living situation, or somebody at home, a mother, a father figure, an elder, a grandparent might need your help with something, or your kids or your grandchildren or something along those lines. They might need your assistance during this time. So again, it might not even be about you, Libra. It might be about the people that rely on you. You know, because Saturn can also bring more duty, more responsibility, like I mentioned, with moving through your 6th house. So this could bring more duty and responsibility to your relationships. Again, family, friends, loved ones, marital partnerships, business partnerships. Saturn could bring you more because, again, he's also testing your boundaries, Libra. So I could go down the rabbit hole with that and lecture, but I'm not going to. But I hope the word boundaries rings a bell. So again, if you have somebody constantly taking advantage of you, constantly leaning on you, constantly pulling on you, Saturn might help you be like, you know what? I can't. I got to help this person. I got to help that person. I got to help myself. I got to keep myself upright. But I'll help you when I can, when I'm able to. This doesn't mean you're cutting off relationships. Boundaries, healthy boundaries in all of your relationships as well, Libra. And again, if this is your rising sign, I already covered that. It's all about the other, anybody that you're connected with. Saturn is helping you build up not only your boundaries and resiliency and giving you a thicker skin in this area of life, Libra. So enjoy this transit, and we'll see you back here in the next video. Bye for now. Hey, Scorpio, let's talk about Saturn and what area of life he's going to be building you up and also giving you that resiliency in a brand new area of life. So Scorpio, let's first talk about where Saturn has been since March of 2023. So he's wrapping up a larger cycle that started back then, and he's just dipping his toe into the Aries pool of life. And for you, this is your 6th house in 2025. He'll be going back to Pisces in 2025 and then officially moving into Aries, your 6th house, in 2026. So we're just getting a sneak peek. And keep in mind, this is not a quick transit. This is going to be around for about 3 years or so, 2.5 to 3 years of this energy, Scorpio. So let's talk about Pisces. So this is where he's wrapping up. Your 5th house is all about your children, your grandchildren, whether you started a family, expanded a family, or maybe people left the nest. You know, Saturn also constricts and restricts as well. So maybe you had kids, grown kids that left the nest over the past 3 years. And maybe you're an empty nester now. We'll get into some stuff that you can do with your 6th house of purpose here. But 5th house could have been also about putting this focus and spotlight on your family, your kids, and your grandchildren as well. 5th house is also about love and romance and dating. So for those of you that were single during this transit, did you meet somebody serious, or did you take your relationship to the next level by getting engaged, for example? Or maybe you just met somebody and you're still getting to know them. Excellent time to meet new people with Saturn moving through your 5th house, because this is a serious partnership coming through. This is marital quality coming through your door, Scorpio. Same with Jupiter. Jupiter and Saturn moving through the 5th house is a good thing. Meeting a serious marital quality committed partner coming into your life. Now, with that said though, Saturn moving through the 5th house, maybe you cut somebody loose.Maybe it was kind of, I don't like, how do I say it? Just not a serious relationship. Maybe you just had fun with this person and now you're like, so maybe you separated. Maybe that person moved along and maybe you met somebody new. But anyway, regardless, if you're single or attached, this would have been kind of a test to your romantic ventures, for example. If you are connected to someone, hopefully you were able to maybe rekindle that fire and work through your problems or issues if any of that came up over the past 3 years. Because again, Saturn is helping the relationship become resilient in this area of life. And that will continue, especially when, I don't want to get ahead of myself here, but when Saturn moves into the 7th house, that could be marriage, engagement, making a commitment to that person in some way, shape, or form. But I don't want to get ahead of myself, Scorpio. One step at a time. 5th house is also about creativity and self-expression. So this could have also been about building a side hustle, building a business, learning something new, diving into activities or things that light us up from the inside out, Scorpio. So that could have also been the case over the past 3 years. So regardless, Saturn would have been testing, maybe testing your hobbies, maybe testing your knowledge in this area of life as well. Now, and yeah, did I mention starting a family? I think I did. Yeah, 5th house is also fertility. So I can see this both ways. Saturn bringing in kids, because that's more duty and responsibility in this area of life. But also Saturn can make it difficult to get pregnant too, because he restricts, constricts, and he's a drying, like he dries things up wherever he goes. So I can see it both ways. So maybe those of you that struggled to get pregnant, hopefully you did get pregnant. And if not, Saturn's going to help continue with that into your 6th house of trying new things to get pregnant. So anyway, like I said, depends on your personal birth chart, depends on which way you take this energy. Saturn, again, can be very beneficial and helpful, but Saturn also forces us to take the hard route, the hard route. He makes things a little bit more difficult versus like easy peasy lemon squeezy. That would be a Jupiter transit or a Venus transit. Saturn, not so much, not so much. Okay, moving into the 6th house. This is the house of service, Scorpio. And again, I don't want to beat around the bush here. This is a heavy area of life. The 6th house is already about duty and responsibility. I'm not trying to make this negative. Hopefully you listened to the beginning part of my video to kind of, I was trying to get you in the mood, in the energy vibe of what Saturn brings to the table. At the end of the day, Saturn works with us and for us, and again, builds that thick skin in this area of life. So this is the house of service, Scorpio. If you put in the work, Saturn will bring you rewards. It's not going to be right away. Like Saturn wants you to put in the blood, the sweat, the tears into being of service to something or someone, whether you're working or not working. Saturn's going to bring in extra duty and responsibility and say, okay, let's see what you got. And he'll reward you. He will. Trust me. If you work with Saturn, he brings in bigger wealth than Jupiter. I noticed a lot of people don't talk about that. Saturn and Pluto bring in big money, big wealth, big success, recognition, rewards over Jupiter. Jupiter does too, but it's like quick and it doesn't stand the test of time. Whatever you're building right now, Scorpio, if you're building a business, if you're building a new career for yourself, if you want to change careers, Saturn's going to help you do it. And Saturn, whatever you incorporate right now, well, during this transit, I apologize, during this transit, so you have many, many, many years, Scorpio. So don't panic. Don't think, oh my God, I got to do this now. No. You have this very long transit, lots of time to take advantage of this energy, Scorpio. But whatever you're building on now, you are going to build yourself up for success. It's just not going to happen overnight. Saturn, as he slowly moves to the top of your sky over time, he's going to start bringing in the recognition, the rewards, everything that you deserve, Scorpio. So yes, it's a hard energy. It's hard work, but it'll pay off. Trust me, it's going to pay off. Now, for those of you that doesn't resonate, this would be about your health and well-being. So health regimes, diet, nutrition, losing weight, excellent transit to put in something into practice, dietary restrictions, eating better, eating cleaner, exercise, losing weight. You can do that with Saturn here. Saturn is definitely a blessing. Again, he's the rings. So like think of tightening up the belt, quite literally. You could lose weight during this transit. So this is a good thing indeed. For those of you that want it to be a good thing, I apologize. It seems like everybody talks about diet nowadays. So there's probably some of you out there that don't care about that. But if you want to get your health back on track, this is the transit to do it. And the nice thing is, again, you have time. Saturn delivers time. He gives us more than enough time to practice these regimes, get into a habit, and again, carry them with us throughout the rest of this transit. And 6th house is also about pets. So your pets and animals might need your attention, or maybe you'll get more pets and animals. Because again, this is about bringing in more duty and responsibility, Scorpio. So, hey, you might get more pets, or if you already have a pet, they might need some extra TLC during this transit. Also, I would recommend, not that you would, but if your pets are having some health challenges, please don't ignore them during this transit, because Saturn can be a hard ass, and we don't want our loved ones, our pets, our friends to suffer, right? So, and that probably sounds stupid that I just said that, but you know, just pay some extra love and attention to them during this transit, Scorpio. Let's see here. 6th house also rules rental properties. If you own a business, run a business, this could also be, again, just putting in the hard work with that. This could also mean the workplace. Like if you work for an employer, this represents quite literally the atmosphere, the environment, and co-workers. So you might find this could go either way. There's either going to be changes to your business, changes to rental agreements if you own rental properties or things like that, or that's how you generate income. There could be some changes. You could get someone that's a real pain in your ass. I'm going to be honest with you. But again, with Saturn here, you can get rid of that or them, Scorpio. So I'm just going to throw that out there. If there's someone that works for you that's not a fit, Saturn will help you draw up the package and get rid of them. Or if they're a rental, if they're a tenant, give them notice and get the support from the town, the city, the state, wherever you live, and put in the proper documentation to get them out, you know. And I know that sounds bad, but I mean, it is what it is, right? Saturn, because Saturn is going to bring these to your attention. Saturn's going to you can't ignore that when Saturn comes along. He's going to make problems bigger. If you already have issues with these people that work with you, work for you, or again, something to do with rental, if you own properties, or if you own a business, run a business, these people might be a bigger pain in your ass. So get rid of them. Saturn will help you do that. He'll be like, see you later. You know, it won't be that easy, of course. Like, do it smart, do it ethically, you know, lean on an advisor if you have to, or whatever the case may be, to help you move through and take those extra precautions and steps, Scorpio. Also, this could be vice versa though too. Like if you're looking for new people to work with you, for you, Saturn can bring in quality people. Same with the Jupiter transit, quality people. Again, Jupiter and Saturn bring in very committed people, like serious people. Saturn and Jupiter have different tones, obviously, but Saturn in here can attract serious. They might be serious. They might not have a sense of humor. They might be a little bit dry, if you know what I mean. But they'll get the shit done. They'll like come in, do the work, clean your gutters, cut your lawn, shovel your snow, whatever you need. They'll come in, get out, in and out, right? Own a business, run a business. If you're looking to hire people, you will find the right people under this transit. And if you're having challenges, just stick with it. Stick with it. Do not give up, because trust me, you'll find the right people. And like I mentioned, you'll get rid of people if they don't fit. You'll find the right committed people that should actually stay with you a long time. Because again, Saturn's commitment. Saturn is the test of time. Stand the test of time, I should say. So again, if you're launching a business, running a business, or going into a managerial position, Scorpio, this should last a long time. So I really love this for you. Now, Saturn's not really making any aspects to you going into Aries. He's kind of making an inconjunct to your planet's placements point. So he won't, this is where the rest of your chart comes in. You know, do you have anything in Aries? Do you have anything in Libra? You know, because yeah, inconjuncts, they're just as awkward as they sound. You know, it could be awkward in the career sector. We already talked about that. It could be awkward on the home front. We kind of already talked about that. You know, if it's your rising sign. Again, this is something about you, your health, your vitality, your well-being, and trying to find your footing in this area of life, Scorpio. But all in all, not a bad transit at all. Again, this transit is setting you up for success for the long haul, and he will not be back here for another 30 years, Scorpio. So just something else to keep in mind. Otherwise, enjoy this transit, and we'll see you back here in the next video. Bye for now. Hey, Sagittarius, let's talk about Saturn and the new area of life he will be building you up in, and also giving you that resiliency over the next 3 years. So Sag, let's first talk about where Saturn is wrapping up. So he's been in your 4th house of Pisces since March of 2023. So he's wrapping up a larger cycle in this area of life. In 2025, he's just dipping his toe in the Aries pool, Sag. So we might not see things right off the hop happen, because again, this is a very long extended transit, 2.5 to 3 year transit. So let's first talk about the 4th house. This is all about home, family, your living circumstances, your living situation. This could also be about mother, father, authority figures in your life. Also you as a parent. This is about the past, or things coming back up from the past, or dealing with things from the past. 4th house is also about retirement, whether that resonates with you or not, or thinking about retirement, planning for retirement, saving for retirement, whatever the case may be, or maybe doing a dream board of what you want to do when you retire or hit a certain age, because at the end of the day, Saturn rules our long-term commitments and goals as well. So Sag, something in this area of life, I have no doubt, went through some changes or some challenges or some pressure tests, because that's what Saturn does. So I'm not trying to be negative. I hope you listened to the beginning of the video. I was trying to give all of you a flavor, a feeling of what Saturn brings to the table. I am an optimist. All of these planets do work for us. They don't work against us. That's us that works against the energy, and then we blame the planets or other people or whatever. No, they work for us. They work with us, because they challenge us to move and change and pivot, because yes, we cannot remain the same, right? I shouldn't have to tell a sign like you, a mutable energy like you, Sag, about pivoting and changing and moving and melding and just rolling with the times, right? But sometimes we can get rigid, right? So Saturn is here to instill that in each and every area of life. And so we can build upon this life experience. We can put it in our back pocket and bring it out on a rainy day when we need it, or reflect back on, oh, hey, I went through that. Let me help you out with this, or give you my suggestions or recommendations on how I moved through, you fill in the blank. So Sag, did a family member need your love and care and support a little bit more during this transit? Was there a little bit more tension on the home front? Whoever you live with, or living circumstances, whether you own or rent your place of living, maybe there was more maintenance in the home that you had to deal with. I know that can be a pain in the you know what. So whatever this was, Sag, this is wrapping up. That's the good news, is this is wrapping up this area of life, so you can move into or focus on a brand new area of life. And you're going to like this, Sag, because Aries makes a trine, a flowing energy into your Sagittarius planets, placements, points. So it is a supportive energy. It is about expansion and growth coming out of your 5th house. This is going to bring in more of an easy focus, like laser focus, and getting more serious in this area of life to build on the life that you want, Sag. But again, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. This is not a Jupiter transit. You're ruled by Jupiter. This is not a Santa Claus transit. This is more of a hard ass coming in and teaching you in this area of life. But the good news is the energy is not going to be working against you so effing hard like it was when he was in Pisces. You know, that's definitely challenging. I can't sugarcoat that, Sag. Sorry, I can't like wrap that in chocolate for you. And you probably already know what I'm talking about now that you're at the end of this transit. But the good news is you'll put in the hard work, and I feel like you'll see the results a lot sooner than, say, if he's making a square to your planet's placements points. So 5th house, what is the 5th house? This is about grandchildren. You could be having grandchildren come into your life over the past year, or sorry, in the next 3 years. I'm going to throw it out there. Now, this obviously might be you or somebody else, but 5th house is kids and grandchildren. So you could be having kids, Sag, if you haven't already had kids with Saturn in the 4th house. Again, this isn't for all of you. So take what resonates and leave the rest. This could also be a supportive transit for your kids or grandchildren, or again, they're going through their own lessons. Because again, this is teaching them something about life, about growth, about, you know, putting in the work, and that things don't come to us automatically. Saturn again teaches us to put in that hard work versus, you know, here's a Twinkie for sitting on the couch all afternoon, you know, things like that, Sag. It's about, you know, you can get a reward, but you got to work for that. So you could be, if you do have kids, you'll be sort of instilling those values and belief systems into your offspring, or again, even your grandkids, right? So whoever younger, if you have any young people around you, this could be a good teaching moment or lessons learned for them over the next 3 years. 5th house is also about romance and dating and love affairs, Sag. So again, this could go both ways. If you are currently dating someone, see how it goes, because I feel like you're going to want a serious partnership coming in at some point. Again, this is an extended transit, so it's not like somebody's going to come in 2025 and that's it. This is the end all be all. But you're going to turn a critical eye to your relationships. Maybe you're somebody that dates around lots of different people, and I'm not judging that. But you might notice this year, starting in 2025, definitely in 2026, you might be like, you know what? I just want to find one person. I want to find my best friend. I want to marry my best friend. I want to marry a serious partner. This could actually attract in somebody older into your life, and also a serious partnership. You know, Jupiter and Saturn are marriage quality partners. So I'm just going to throw that out there. This is also making a nice aspect to your, if you're watching for your rising sign, this is making a nice aspect to your descendant, your love line. So again, you could get married, Sag, or you could find a committed partnership, whatever that means for you. Or again, you just could also get engaged. But whatever this is, if you're looking for love, if you're looking for new love, you probably will find it, and they'll have a serious tone to them. Or this could be a transit where you're like, you know what, I need a break from dating. That could be possible too. Again, it depends on how you want to use this energy. This energy is here for you to utilize. I'm just giving you examples, Sag. If you're already in an existing relationship, this is good too. This is really nice energy coming in. This is about getting serious with your partner. Again, maybe talks of marriage or commitment or moving in together or having kids, something along those lines. You could be taking the next step, or like I said, maybe cutting somebody loose and you're like, you know what, this is like playing high school games. I can't do this anymore. Goodbye. Maybe not like that, Sag, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean? Like, this could even either increase your love life or decrease your love life. It's whatever you want this to be, Sag. Now, if that doesn't resonate, fifth house is all about what lights you up from the inside out. So hobbies, entertainment, joy, pleasure, all of those things could be taking center stage. Excellent time to dive into anything new from a hobby perspective or a creative perspective. Again, this could bring things out of your mind into form. Saturn crystallizes anything we talk about, anything we think about. Saturn can actually manifest it for us. And again, for those of you that maybe want to build a business or bring this into form, like sell your ideas, Saturn can absolutely do that for you, because Saturn does rule your second house of work and money. So that could be a possibility. And again, no need to rush, because this is, again, a 3-year transit, Sag. If you're watching for your sun sign, this again could be opportunities coming into your career sector or your vitality, or again, whatever you do on a day-to-day basis. If you're not working, by the way, dive into new things, new hobbies, new friendships, let's see here. Dive into helping out your local community and humanitarian efforts. I think that is where you'll find pleasure and joy and what will possibly light you up from the inside out. Also teaching, mentoring, coaching, education, anything educational, Sag. I mean, you are ruled by Jupiter, so you're also a natural teacher, also a natural leader. So use your skills, your talents, your abilities to your advantage and for the greater good, whether you're working or not working. So if it's your sun, career opportunities. If it's your moon, this is something to do with home, family, foundation, living circumstances. If it's your rising sign, again, this is either about the partnership we talked about, like your connection to other people, or this could be about you, your health, your vitality, getting your health back on track, exercise regimes. Saturn actually trining your rising sign, this could help you lose weight or get into shape. Aries is the muscular sign, and with Saturn in here, you could build those muscles out, get lean and mean, Sag. Sagittarians, this just popped in my head. Sagittarians are known for their bodies and their legs. My God, all the Sages I know, they got these wicked legs on them. So, you know, use them if you got them, Sag. Like, come on now. Flash those babies. I don't know why that just popped in my head, but it did. I know a few Sagittarians, and they just have these incredible bodies, and their legs. They're just known for the legs. You know, you are the sign of the horse, right? Too. Beautiful animals, obviously. I'm not, by the way, Sag, I'm not making fun of you, and I'm not cutting you down. So please don't take that the wrong way. I'm saying Saturn can help you enhance your image. If that resonates. If that doesn't resonate, then don't worry about that. But this could really get you back on track from a health and vitality and well-being standpoint if that resonates with you. Otherwise, that is about it, Sag. So I know you are going to enjoy this transit, especially getting out of that square energy that you've been dealing with since March of 2023. So enjoy this transit, Sag. Make the most of it. And we'll see you back here in the next video. Bye for now. Hey Capricorn, let's talk about your ruler and what new area of life he will be transiting and building in that resiliency and continuing to build on this area of life for you, Cap. So let's talk about where Saturn is actually wrapping up, which is your third area of life. So he popped in here March of 2023. So think back to what was going on in your life around that time. Now I know Pluto also popped into Aquarius around that time as well for the first time in Aquarius. But anyway, Saturn, what has he been doing for you in this area of life since then? He's just going to dip his toe in the Aries pool of life just for a little bit in 2025. And then we're really going to get a taste of this Capricorn once he dives into Aries full-time, permanent, 2026 all the way until 2028. So Capricorn, let's talk about the third house where he's wrapping up something. Third house is very busy. This is about the mind. This is about how you digest information, Capricorn. How do you chew on information? Also how you speak, how you articulate yourself as well. Third house could have been for you maybe about transportation and how you get around, whether that was either beneficial or challenging for you or testing you over the last several years. Third house is also about siblings, cousins, neighbors, neighborhoods, place of living. Third house is your local environment, Capricorn, your local community, your local town, city, state, province, whatever the case may be. Not so much international focus, but local focus would have been sort of on your plate for the last several years. Third house is also about social media and writing and maybe book publishing or getting your words of wisdom out there on some platform or websites or whatever the case may be. Third house is also about short distance traveling. So again, just focusing in on that local community that you support, your place of living. So Capricorn, what have you been learning? You know, third house, this is an educational house as well. If you learned anything new over the last 3 years, Capricorn, actually really good time, by the way, to learn something new. So hopefully you took advantage of that if that resonated with you. Again, this is not going to resonate for everyone. I'm just giving you some examples of what you could be wrapping up from a larger cycle that started in 2023. Anything you learned new, Capricorn, now you can start to apply that to your day-to-day as Saturn is moving at the foundation, the bottom of your sky. So Saturn is trying to build you up with something, Capricorn, and you can fill in the blank there. We'll get to your fourth house in a minute here, but excellent for educational pursuits or upgrading your skills, your talents, your abilities. Or Capricorn, maybe this was about lessons you learned with how you relate to other people, how you relate to your neighbors, how you relate to your siblings, how you relate to your relatives or extended family members. Now with Saturn, as you know, this is your ruler. This could have been challenging. Did you have some challenging interactions with siblings? Maybe they were going through something over the last several years and you were called to support them in some way, shape, or form. Or maybe you were kind of on the sidelines and you knew they're going through something, whether you assisted with that or played a part in that or not. Maybe they went through some challenging things over the last 3 years. Same with neighbors too. You know, this can actually make the neighborhood or neighbors kind of cool, restricted. Like, you know how you're chatting with somebody and it's bubbly and it's friendly and it's blah, 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 blah. Saturn moving through the third house, you might have noticed that your neighbors were a little bit cooler towards you, or maybe they didn't always say hi to you or whatever the case may be. I know that might sound childish, Capricorn, but I'm also integrating some of the things I've noticed. I'm a Capricorn rising. If you've been watching me for a while, I'm a Cap rising and a Cap moon. And these are some things I also am incorporating from my personal experience. I can appreciate not everybody, I'm not making this about me. You know, I can appreciate not everyone is going through the same things I'm going through. But these are some things I also noticed as well, personally, you know. So Saturn moving out of this house hopefully will If you had any difficulty with these relationships, hopefully Saturn moving away from this third house will help lift sort of that restrictive or colder vibe. And again, it's nothing bad. It's just, it is what it is, right? I mean, we're ruled by Saturn, right? Nobody gives off a stink eye like us, Capricorn. I hope that at least made you laugh in some small way. But you know, how many times have you been told this, right? Especially if you're a Cap rising or moon or sun, like we're old souls, right? We're critical. We can be critical. You know, that's just how we are. Like we're resilient in all areas of life being ruled by Saturn, but it doesn't mean our lives are cakewalks, right? But I'm just saying, I think out of all the signs, you and Aquarius can understand Saturn the best of the energies he can bring forward, regardless of what kind of transit he's moving through in whatever area of life. Anyway, enough about the third house. Let's move into the fourth house. Now he's going to spend 2.5 years, 3 years in this area of life. In Capricorn, as you probably might anticipate, this is making a square to you. So all the cardinal energies now, signs I should say, so that's you, Cancer, Aries, and Libra, will be going through some transformation over the next several years. Saturn in a big angular house, if this is your true fourth house, by the way, this might not be your true fourth house, Capricorn. This is where your personal birth chart comes into play. We have the power now to change our living circumstances, our place of living, quite literally. This could also be about you as a parent. You might get, how do I say this? You might become the hard ass parent, Capricorn. I'm just going to put it out there. There's nothing wrong with that, by the way. There's nothing wrong with that. Because you're a teacher. You're ruled by a teacher planet. Jupiter, Saturn, they're teachers. They just teach in different ways. And Saturn, you put in the hard work and you teach your kids or you teach your grandchildren, hey, you put in the hard work, look at the success you get. Look at the rewards you get. It's not automatic, but they'll come. They will come. Saturn is guaranteed success. If you work with Saturn, it's guaranteed rewards. But yeah, he's a hard ass, right? So fourth house could impact you as a parent, could also impact your parents, by the way. So if you don't have kids, this could be about your parents. Your parents might lean on you a little bit more during this transit, or you might be caring for them or tending to them a little bit more, because Saturn brings in more responsibility. And this, it's quite literally more responsibility under your own roof. You're under your own living circumstances. So if this isn't a parent, it could be a child. If it's not a child or not a parent, this could be whoever you're living with. Or again, an extended family member or relative or a pet even. Anyone that you live with. There could be some just more responsibility. You got to tend to more responsibility under this transit. But when it comes to your home life, this is going to be a focus on your home life, not so much your career, Capricorn. But I'm not saying your career is not going to exist. Obviously, that's not the case. It's just that Saturn is again trying to help rebuild or build in this area of life. If you want to move, move. As simple as that, Capricorn. Like Saturn in the fourth house, if this is your true fourth house, a move could be in the future. You could find the home of your dreams, build the home of your dreams. Again, Neptune is going to be in here too. I'm going to make a separate video about that. But Neptune and Saturn in here is quite literally, Capricorn, finding or building the home of your dreams, the family of your dreams, the foundation of your dreams. The list goes on. You fill in the blank. If you work with homes, properties, investments, anything like that, really nice energy coming in. But again, not easy. This isn't get rich quick by the end of 2025. Saturn, I'm sorry, does not bring that in. I'm just saying there's a seed that's going to get planted here when Saturn comes together with Neptune. And this will stand the test of time. So again, it's going to take some time for this energy to unfold. At the end of the day, think about building a home. Does that happen within a day? No. Does that happen within a month? Maybe not. I guess it depends on where you live. If you're in the big city, fast-paced lifestyle, I guess you could build a home pretty quick. But if you're living in a remote area or a small town or out in the country, you know what I'm talking about. Things don't happen fast, right? The life is slower paced. So apply this to your living situation or circumstance. Fourth house is also about the past, ancestry, your roots, your place of where you came from. That could also be up for some introspection or review or revision, or again, things coming up from the past that irritate you, Capricorn. And it's coming up for a reason. It's bubbling up for a reason for you to acknowledge it, heal it, let it go. Easier said than done, I know. But this is when, if anything is coming up from the past suddenly, or from your childhood, or how you were raised, please work with someone. Please connect with a healer, a practitioner, whoever you need to talk to, astrologer, tarot. If you're into the metaphysical stuff, reach out to someone that can help you understand what's going on in your chart, what's going on in your life. Again, that's just a suggestion. That's not saying it's going to happen. You have to do this, you have to do that. I'm just throwing out some ideas at you, Capricorn. Retirement. Did I talk about that? Retirement. This could be thoughts of retirement or finally retiring. Finally saying, okay, you know what? I've had enough. Time to put my energy and efforts into my grandkids or my children or my business or my side hustle or whatever. Or time to retire at the lake, time to retire wherever, because again, this could be literal moving. Whatever it is, you are trying to restructure what home and family and living situation means to you, Capricorn, or retirement, or planning for retirement, or thoughts of retirement. This could also be, Capricorn, I'm going to throw it out there, if you do own your own home or some sort of property, this is maintenance on that home, maintenance on the property. Saturn, actually, if you are buying or selling, Capricorn, make sure you double, triple check the literal foundations of the home. Make sure you double check that. Also with Neptune here too, that's like a double whammy. Check the foundations of the home. Get a home inspector or a trusted friend or a trusted contractor to come with you. Because yeah, Saturn could literally bring in issues in the home or issues with the foundation of the home or something about the home. Now, is this for everyone? No, it's not. It's not like guaranteed all the houses are out there are crap. It's just making you get more critical, especially if you're building a house too. Make sure, they don't cut corners during this transit. Definitely not a time to do that. But it is a good time to invest in property, invest in something to do with your living situation or rental properties. Because I think Capricorn later on down the road, yeah, it's a pain in the ass now. It might be a pain in the ass now, but the reward, you'll reap the rewards later on down the line. And I'm thinking as soon as 2028, when Saturn moves into Taurus, but I mean, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Because again, Saturn is a wealthy god. He brings in wealth. Plus you got the powerhouse Pluto, another very wealthy god in your second house of work and money. So Capricorn, bumps in the road. It is what it is. If anyone can work with this energy, it's you, because this is your ruling planet. So you'll be able to navigate those challenges. And if a roadblock gets thrown up, just whatever, go around it, start working on something else. If something gets delayed, whatever. It is what it is. I'm not trying to downplay it. I'm just trying to make it not sound like the end all be all here. It's just, okay, move around it, navigate around it, and figure out a different way. Capricorn suns, this could have something to do with your health, vitality, and well-being. So please take care of yourself during this transit or clean up the diet. Something to do with your career. Again, changes to the career or with the career. If it's your moon, Capricorn, again, this is kind of double whammy with the home stuff. Home, living circumstances, living situation, family, work-life balance, by the way, could probably come up over the next 3 years. Also, mother, I think I mentioned this, mother, father, authority figures might lean on you for more support during this transit. If it's your rising sign, again, health and well-being, your vitality, the ascendant is the physical body. Also how you enter into the world, how the world sees you, like first impressions, that also might be going through some changes as well. Let's see here. What else am I missing? You know what, Capricorn, this could also be just internal struggles. You battling with yourself about something. Might not be about external. It could be just internal. But this is about taking action. This is pushing yourself to succeed, but just don't burn out, Capricorn, please. Work-life balance. Take care of yourself. This could be at times dynamic energy coming towards you, coming at you, and you need to pivot, respond, react, do what you got to do. But otherwise, yeah, this is an action-oriented transit for you. So now it's time to start laying the bricks, putting down brick by brick by brick, and literally building the foundation of what the lessons that you've been learning since Saturn was in your sign. You know, so I'm going way back. This, 10 years, let me see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago or so. Forgive me, I don't have the dates in front of me, but something about something that you initiated maybe 8 or 10 years ago. There could be some changes. Whatever you initiated back then, there could be some changes now with Saturn challenging you to take action or change something that's just not working anymore, Capricorn. Otherwise, enjoy this transit, my friends, and we'll see you back here in the next video. Bye for now. Hey, Aquarius, let's talk about your ancient traditional ruler and the new area of life he's going to be building you up in and giving you that resiliency over the next several years. So yes, you are one of the lucky signs that's ruled by 2 different planets. So your ancient traditional ruler is Saturn, but you're also ruled by the modern planet of Uranus, because you definitely have a unique streak to you, don't you, Aquarius? Because you and Capricorn are both ruled by Saturn, but you're 2 very different signs, very different elements and very different energies that you both can bring to the table. So Aquarius, let's first talk about where Saturn has been since March of 2023 in your second area, your second house, in your Piscean area of life. So the second house is all about money and transforming your money or living circumstances, or how you earn a living, how you line your pockets, Aquarius. This is also about your work and your value systems. This could also tie into your health and vitality as well, like your digestive system, how you feed yourself. What are you feeding yourself, Aquarius? Things like that. Material possessions are in the second house as well, and the second house is all about what belongs to you. So this is more about a transit about you and standing on your own 2 feet, and I have no doubt Saturn has been helping you with that. So Saturn moving through a financial house, Aquarius, I have no doubt this has been a little bit challenging. But again, think of it this way. He's building you up for something bigger, something better. He was clearing the slate, new work. Did you find a new job over the past 3 years that pays you better than, say, whatever you were doing in the past? Again, depending on your stage of life. If you're not working, then apply this to what do you do on a day-to-day basis? What are you known for? Saturn is about the legacy that we want to leave behind, the wealth that we want to leave behind, whether it's for kids, grandkids, or our favorite charity, or whatever the case may be. So Saturn here also might have helped you tighten the belt in this area of life. Where is your money going, Aquarius? Or sorry, where was your money going over the past 3 years? So maybe tightening up when it comes to material possessions, releasing things that no longer suit your lifestyle. Like, do you really need those 3 boats in the yard? Do you really need those 3 sports cars in the garage? Things like that. It would have been a nice time to restrict, constrict, let things go, and downsize in this area of life, Aquarius, because you would have craved it. So this is not for everyone. So again, take what resonates and leave the rest, because if this was your true second house, this definitely was connected to your finances or buying or selling. I'm thinking more so selling, because with Saturn in here, again, he restricts, constricts, versus buying. But if you did buy something in this second house, Aquarius, while he was transiting the second house, like property, mortgage, debt, loan, new vehicles, new whatever. This is going to stand the test of time. So that's the good news with Saturn moving through that second house. So anything you purchased over the last 3 years since March of 2023 should last a long time, and also maybe even bring you in some value later on down the road. So a simple example would be property, right? So if you bought property over the last 3 years, maybe whenever you go to sell it, obviously not right away, you'll profit on that. Like that'll line your pockets in some way, shape, or form. So that is some examples of the second house. Again, that's not an exhaustive list, and apply this to your living and circumstances as well, Aquarius. And again, for those of you not working, how were you of service over the last 3 years? What did you do? What were you doing? Did you downsize? Did you move? Did you sell assets? Did you buy assets? Things like that. What did you do? Like, how do you pay the bills? How do you pay your taxes, your debts, your loans, things like that? How do you pay for food on the table? So whatever that was, Saturn made you, hopefully this would have been really good for budgeting and tightening up the belt when it comes to where is your money flowing or going to, Aquarius. Now, he's moving now into your third house, and this is good news because he's going to be bringing in opportunities to your planets, placements, points from this third house area of life now, Aquarius. So third house is all about the mind, communication, how you communicate, how you articulate yourself, and also how you digest and chew on information as well. Third house is also about transportation, siblings, cousins, relatives, extended family members. The focus is on your local community, your local environment, your local town or city or place of living. Social media is also in this area of life. The internet, websites, connecting with people online, and also short distance traveling or tripping around is also covered in this area of life. So Aquarius, Saturn might be turning a critical eye to this area of life. And again, I'm not trying to be negative. This is hopefully you watched the beginning of the video to try to get kind of a feel of this energy coming in. Saturn again is building on something in this area of life. For those of you wanting to go back to school, incredible energy coming in for teaching, mentoring, coaching, learning anything new, because anything you learn over the next 3 years is going to stand the test of time, and you can build on this skill set. That's one thing I forgot to mention. Your second house of Pisces is also your skills, your talents, your abilities. So not only work, but your skills, your talents, your abilities. So if you already did that, Aquarius, if you already upgraded your skill set while he was in Pisces, 2023 to now it's time to transition those skills and put those skills to use or monetize those skills in some way, shape, or form. Now, again, if that doesn't resonate, here's another opportunity, a window of time to go back to school, to go to that mastermind, to get your business out on social media land or whatever the case may be, because this is still a teaching, a learning transit where you can absorb and digest a lot of information. It's going to be hard. Again, Saturn doesn't bring gifts like Jupiter does. He wants us to put in the work first before we get the rewards, right? So put in the work now, Aquarius, and trust me, you will reap those rewards later on down the road. What I'm thinking is you'll reap them once Saturn moves into Gemini, but that's quite a ways away. And I also don't want to, I don't want to taint that. I don't want you to think, oh my God, I'm not going to get rewards for like another 6 years. No, you know, I'm just giving you examples and possibilities. You could be reaping rewards now with the skills, the talents, the abilities, whatever you built on with Saturn transiting that second house. So again, for some of you, this could be happening now. You could be reaping the rewards now in your career. Or for some of you, you're just planting the seeds now and you're going to reap them later on down the road. Let's see here. Third house is also about, like I mentioned, social media. So if you want to get a presence online, if you haven't already launched your website, launched your YouTube channel, put yourself out there, Now is the time to do it, slowly but surely. Again, you have lots of time, Aquarius, so no need to go super fast with this. Again, Saturn likes to go slow, and steady wins the race under this transit. Now, on the flip side, though, Saturn can restrict, constrict. So you could be letting go of some platforms under this transit, Aquarius. Maybe you got dozens and dozens of social media platforms that you use. Saturn might help you, or you might feel under this transit to get rid of them. And that's okay. Because again, Saturn's about downsizing. Wherever he goes, he tightens the belt. He restricts. Jupiter transits are the ones that expand and make us take on everything under the sun. Saturn comes along and says, no, 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 no. Here is some boundaries, and here's how you learn boundaries, Aquarius. So again, restriction, constriction, and learning to say no, and not taking on everything, not having to do everything, Aquarius, or maybe leaning on those folks that can help you get stuff done, quite literally. And in this case, it could be neighbors, neighborhoods, siblings, cousins, relatives, extended family members. Now, speaking of them, this transit could be about them. I'm just going to put it out there. They might go through some circumstances over the next several years where they're going to need your support. They're going to need your help, Aquarius, because at the end of the day, wherever Saturn goes, he brings in more duty, more responsibility on our shoulders. So this might not be about you. This might be about them and helping them out in some way, shape, or form. It's not for everyone, but it's a possibility under this transit. I'm also not saying that, again, I'm not trying to be negative and say, well, all of your siblings and all of your neighbors and cousins are going to have a rough couple years. No, again, this is going to play out differently in everyone's lives, and this would have to be your true third house, or how is Saturn talking to your third house ruler. This is where your personal birth chart comes into focus more. I'm just looking at a blank chart, so just keep that in mind. Apply this to your situation, Aquarius, if you know your birth chart. Let's see here. Third house is also about how you get around, Aquarius, so that could be challenged or tested in some way, shape, or form. So again, I'm not trying to be negative. It's just to be forewarned here. If you're having difficulties with a vehicle or transportation, a bike, a scooter, however it is that you get around, Aquarius, don't ignore that. You know, like, I know most of us don't, but I actually know a lot of people that ignore when all the lights come on the dash. And I mean, if a wheel falls off, they're like, ah, whatever, I'll just slap it back on. Like, I know a lot of people like that. I know some people are more diligent about stuff like that. And some people, you know, they could care less. They're like, my vehicle gets me from point A to point B. I don't care, even if there's only one wheel left on the car. Okay, Aquarius. So pay extra attention to, again, your mode of transportation, however you get around. Be more aware of that, I would say, because you could experience more breakdowns. I personally just went through this transit with Saturn in my third house. And yeah, my vehicle kept breaking down. So I finally just got a new one. I finally just bought a new one, and I patched up my old one the best I could, and I sold it for like nothing, next to nothing. So I'm just giving you a simple example of anything you purchase now, especially a mode of transportation, it could last you a very, very long time. Or again, Saturn might knock and be like, hey, you're driving a vehicle that's like 30 years old. I think it's time for an upgrade, or something like that. Okay, again, just a simple example here. So regardless, Saturn moving through here, it is a social house. It is a social butterfly house. So it will test not only your relationships, because this is a relationship house, but it's also going to test your technology and how you use technology. Again, how you chew on information. Saturn is also going to help you think before you speak. And there could be some lessons around that. You know, again, depending on your age, okay, depending on what you do for a living, or how you use social media, or how you put yourself out there, or how you use technology. This is going to, again, ripple out in different ways, however you utilize this third house. But it's definitely a relationship house. It's definitely a social house, but it's also a house of technology as well. Now, if you're watching for your sun sign, this is opportunities coming in regarding your career. This is opportunities coming in with regards to your home life or living situation if it's your moon, if you have an Aquarius moon. So again, there could be opportunities to change your living situation for the better. Again, Saturn will stand the test of time. He will bring in something that's solid, that's good. That's another thing with the third house. Saturn can actually bring in solid people that you can rely on, that you can lean on. Again, you could find the perfect teacher, the perfect mentor, coach, mastermind, whatever you want to call it, to again upgrade your skill set and improve yourself. Also, they just showed me, what do you call that? Toastmasters. For those of you looking to do things like that, excellent, 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 excellent time to do that. Now, if it's your rising sign, Aquarius, this is about how you present yourself to the world. This is how you perceive the world. This is the lenses or the glasses you wear. And this is also how you appear, how people see you entering the world, what you're known for. Also first impression as well. So Saturn will help with that, will integrate something from the third house into your image and how you project yourself onto the world. Also, Aquarius, I just realized Saturn's going to be making a trine to your love line, your descendant. If you're an Aquarius rising, Saturn will make a beautiful aspect to your relationship sector. So again, if you're single and looking, Aquarius, this could bring in a really nice partnership, a committed partnership. So this could be in love, this could be in business, or again, just solid people that you can rely on. And again, apply that to your situation, Aquarius. Otherwise, nice transit for you, Aquarius. I have no doubt you're probably happy with Saturn moving away and along from your second house. But again, I don't think that's a bad thing. I know a lot of folks that have built their wealth while Saturn was in the second house, because it just naturally makes us, tighten the belt and nose to the grindstone, because, second house is also about work. So hopefully Saturn brought you in some sort of silver lining over the past 3 years, Aquarius. And now you have this transit to look forward to, take advantage of the opportunities that come your way. And again, you're building on something in this area of life that you can apply to later on down the road. Otherwise, Aquarius, enjoy this transit and we'll see you back here in the next video. Bye for now. Hey Pisces, let's talk about Saturn and what new area of life he will be building you up in and giving you that resiliency. So Pisces, I know you will probably feel this with Saturn coming out of your sign, with Neptune coming out of your sign. I have no doubt you'll feel the shift. You're such an intuitive psychic sign. So let me know in the comments below. Doesn't have to be right away, because this is not a quick transit. Saturn and Neptune will be dancing between your sign and Aries throughout 2025. And these two heavy hitters will permanently move into Aries in 2026, Pisces. So yes, you're like being reborn here. You're it's like you're metaphorically losing like 500 pounds. Pisces, with these two big heavy hitters moving away and out of your first house. So I want to congratulate you. Not easy with Saturn in the first house and Neptune in the first house. A lot of people don't even experience Neptune in the first house, because Neptune takes 165 years to go through the entire zodiac. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself here. I'll cover that off in my Neptune video, but oh, Pisces, yes, I think you're going to feel relieved. I could be totally wrong, but I think you're going to feel the weight being lifted off your shoulder, and you should feel stronger and more resilient now with Saturn not only moving through your first house over the past 3 years, so starting March of 2023, but even Saturn moving through the 12th house and cleaning out the closet, so to speak, Pisces. So anyway, let's talk about this first house, where he's leaving, where he's exiting, finally. Yes, he's just dipping into your second house. You're just going to get a taste of this year, but he's wrapping something up in your first house. So your first house is all about your physical appearance. Some of you could have physically changed or lost a lot of weight or built a lot of muscle, however you use this Saturn. Maybe you went on very strict diet or routines, or what do you call them? Elimination diets, Pisces. You could have used this Saturn in so many different ways to clean up the body, whatever that means for you. Now, if it's not the body, it would have been the mind or the psyche or the spirit or the soul, whatever you want to consider this. First house is cleaning out the closet, and it's like a new fresh slate. You're setting the stage for the next 30 years of your existence, Pisces. First house is also big, major life themes. So did you move? Did you renovate? Did you have a baby? Did you separate? Did you get married? Did you change your careers? Did you sell a business? Did you build a business? Did you launch a business? Blah, blah. I could go on and on. But the point is, this would have impacted multiple areas of life, Pisces, because anything that happens, the first house, the fourth house, the seventh house, the 10th house, I'm sure some of you heard me say this before, it's going to ripple to all areas of life. So again, depends on how you utilized this energy, Pisces. And maybe some of you are just like, I don't even know what just happened the last 6 years. And I don't even know where to start or how to start fresh. Saturn and Aries will help you do that. So speaking of that, let's focus on this second house where Saturn's going to be for the next 2.5, 3 years. Saturn is going to help you build the job, the career, the work, the 9 to 5, the business, whatever you want. Saturn's going to help you crystallize something in this area of life. So for those of you that are like, I don't know, I just wanted to survive this transit, and now you're coming out the other end, you're getting spit out, kind of like coming out of the womb. And womb, not wound, but womb, I meant to say. You're naked, you have a new mindset, new abilities, new skills, new talents, and you're kind of like, well, what do I do now? You know, so some of you could be in that state of mind and frame of mind, and that's okay. That's totally okay. Nobody knows what it's like to have these two heavy hitters come through your sign like you do. You know, this is pretty rare to experience this in a lifetime together anyway. So that's okay. Saturn's going to help you now build the life you want, because Saturn now is going to be moving at the bottom of your sky, depending on your personal birth chart. So he's going to work with you and mold you and start building the structures of your body. Think of becoming an adult, right? Growing as a child. That's kind of like what you're doing now. I don't care what age you are. It doesn't matter. It's like you're being born a brand new person, and it's like getting a second chance at life and saying, okay, here's a ticket. You're next in line. Let's go. We're going to help you figure this out. So that's what Saturn's going to do in this second house. But I'm going to be honest with you, Pisces, this isn't automatic easy. This isn't, okay, here's $1 million. Here's a perfect home. Here's a perfect car. Here's a perfect family. Now go out in society. No, you got to build your wealth, Pisces. So, and I'm not trying to be negative. Hopefully you watched the beginning part of the video where I talked about the energy Saturn brings to these transits, okay? He's not, I can't sugarcoat this. I can't coat this in chocolate strawberries for you, Pisces. I'm sorry. You know, this isn't your ruler, okay? Your ruler is so different. Jupiter, there's no boundaries. Let's expand. Let's take on the world. And Saturn's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, let's crystallize this. Let's build on this. Let's monetize this. So that's what Saturn's going to be bringing to the table. And putting your fishy feet, your fins on the ground, Pisces, so to speak, which is not a bad thing. So you probably got a lot of ideas. You're very creative. Now it's time to bring them in, hone in on them. What do you want to do now moving forward? Now, if you don't work, for those of you that don't work, apply this to your circumstance. You know, what kind of group or humanitarian efforts what do you want to dive into? How do you want to bring this forward from a societal level? Because Saturn rules your 11th house of humanitarian efforts, of community, of finding like-minded people, like, you know, creating these big movements, Pisces. Like I'm seeing a wave of humans coming in now. So you could be just part of a movement or a union or an association. Find like-minded people to gather with and create a movement. Second house is also about, obviously, your finances. So again, Saturn will help you tighten the belt here. Saturn's good at letting things go. You know, Jupiter's good at bringing things in and buying more material possessions, but Saturn's going to help you tighten the belt. Like, do you really need those 3 boats in the yard? Do you really need all those properties? Do you really need, you know, 6 closets full of clothing, Pisces? So Saturn will help you get rid of things and really downsize. Not a bad thing, because it can also line your pockets, right? I'm not saying, I mean, if you want to give this stuff away, you can. But if you sell it, you could also make a profit on that, right? And then put it towards, you fill in the blank. Business, buying, anything you buy during this transit, by the way, could be property, could be if you need a new vehicle, whatever the case may be. This is going to stand the test of time. So whatever you purchase now, it's going to be about quality over quantity. Second house is also about your skills, your talents, your abilities. If you invest in yourself, Pisces, that is the golden ticket right now. With Saturn in your second house, going back to school, learning something new, or just brushing up or building on what you already know, excellent time to do that with Saturn in the second house. Keep in mind, Saturn will also test this area of life. So he might bring in tests of your skill set, testing you on the job front. Again, Saturn comes in and just tests the legs. He's quite literally going the bottom of your sky. So he's coming around and shaking those 2x4s. Like, okay, let's see how solid and steady Pisces really is. And if a board breaks, then it's like, oh, okay, I'm going to replace that. That pipe or that piece of wood, that's rotted out. So let's cut it out. Let's replace it. Saturn can also come along and do that as well, depending on our age, of course, okay? Depending on what age you are right now. And also, where is your Saturn in your natal chart? How is Saturn aspecting it? Is he making any aspects to it? And do you have anything in Aries? Do you have anything in Libra or Capricorn or Cancer? Because Saturn's not making any aspects to you anymore. You know, I think you've had enough of that with Saturn conjuncting your sun, your rising sign, your moon, or anything else you were watching for in Pisces. Now he's moving along into Aries. So this is where, like I said, take what resonates, leave the rest. It depends on what you're personally watching for, Pisces. But hopefully that kind of gives you an idea of what Saturn could be helping you build and grow towards in this area of life. Again, Saturn's a teacher, so is your ruler Jupiter. They're just, they have different teaching styles. And Jupiter is a little bit more quicker, where Saturn likes to repeat himself and repeat himself. He's also about karma, building new karma, and testing what you've learned. Even, I'm thinking back, the last time Saturn was in this area of your life was in the 90s, 1996, 1999. If you were alive back then, he's going to be coming back around and testing you in this area of life again, saying, hey, what have you learned over the past 30 years? Or again, depending on what stage are you at in your Saturn cycle. He could also be testing you on something that you may have incorporated 8 years ago, or again, 7 years ago. It's kind of like he's testing something in this area of life as well. There's always a connection with Saturn. Otherwise, Pisces, enjoy this Saturn transit, and we'll see you back here in the next video. Bye for now.